legend. Better cool on your faction. Ready for the curtain call, lights, camera, action.
Well, international bragging rights have been won. The national team colours have been put away, and for the first time in 6 years, the 2024 Lifesaving World Championships Interclub competition is ready to fire up here at Kurrawa Beach on the beautiful Gold Coast. My name is Sam Jordan, sitting alongside the legendary Courtney Hancock. Court, we've been waiting for a long time to see the Interclub competition back, more than 2,000 days. It's finally here.
It is finally here. We are, as you said, Sam, so many years, and we're finally here. The dream has come true. We're alive. We are happening at Kurrawa on the Gold Coast. It's been a beautiful week so far. We've still got another week to go, and really excited to be side by side with you, Sam, here.
And another beautiful day as well on the way in terms of weather, but there has been a little bit of change to the program. A very strong southerly wind has seen the water events postponed for today. Instead, it is all about the beach today. We will be beginning in just a moment with the women's 2K beach run. The men will be going after that, and then we have both our women's and men's beach sprint relay. Court, we're expecting winds later this afternoon of north of 35 knots. That is incredibly strong. The decision has been made to spread that program out over the next 2 days and allow for a nice even playing field for all of our travelling competitors.
Yeah, the winds really switch around. We've seen a northerly the last couple of days for the Interclub Championships before fighting out Australia and New Zealand in that. So it's definitely changed a fair bit. It's also a little bit cooler on the outside temperature as well as the water temperature as well. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm so excited because we won't be doing the ocean, but we're going to be hitting the sands. And I tell you what, the athletes here, it is incredible. 2K beach run, Sam. You can't get much harder than that event.
No, exactly right. 38 athletes have been entered, and they are standing by getting ready for a start. 2 kilometres over a 250-metre stretch. That's 4 laps, and I'll tell you what, the lactic acid certainly kicks in this event.
Yes, it certainly does. I was just looking at the lineup. We've got the youth women's. They're going to be up front, so they're going to lead the way. As you can see the girls on screen at the moment, just their hair's flicking around there. That southerly is going to be really, really strong. So the girls are going to really think quite tactically about this run. Are they going to sit in behind, make sure they're getting those footprints, and also getting a little bit of cover from the girls? So they're going to be running from south to north. So this first lap, they're really going to be charging down with that southerly. But when they're going to be coming back, they're going to actually be coming straight into that southerly. So that's where they're going to hit that little pocket.
Yeah, that's right. We'll try and quickly fly through the start list now before we do get underway. Julia Dumont, Sophie Gill, Alison Lavoie, Sari McKee, the Australian champion, Rose Fortin, Sienna Alderson, Anne-Marie Skinder, Emily Demetriou, Julianne Goldrow, over the page, Tia Watson, Jessica Henville, Bailey Rogers, Rose St. Gelais, Lamontagne, Ainsland Maria Stevens, Sophia Garvin, C.V. Gibson, Florence Leclerc, Elisa Nonnenbruch and Savannah Bush. They are 20 of our competitors that we do have in this beach sprint, but we are about to get underway. Courtney, and a world championship is being contested in the first event of the day. It doesn't get any bigger than that. You can see some of the nerves on the girls' faces now.
Yeah, a lot of these girls would be super nervous. This is their first race, and being up, we're only 10 past 8 at the moment. So early start, early warm-ups. Here you can see the girls there. They're going to be flying down like a rocket with this wind, but everyone's getting their spot. A lot of them have come off cross-country championships, Australian championships, and Sam, we're off for a start.
Wins at their back and a world championship on the line. We are underway in the Interclub Youth female 2 kilometre beach run, and already we can see some early pace being put down on the line, and right at the front, that is Sari McKee the Australian champion, and she's already taking it to this field.
Yeah, she looks really good out in front already. And as I spoke about, just trying to work really with that wind. And we've got Savannah Bush up there. So she's in really hot form at the moment. She was runner-up at the National Cross Country, gold at the National Cross Country School. So she's been very, very strong. Unfortunately, her sister, Sienna Bush, who we've seen in the Iron Woman over the last season, very, very strong. She's been struggling with a few injuries, so we'll certainly see her back and more likely would stay in the ocean, so she'll be resting her legs in this one.
It's a tough event, the 2 kilometre beach run, and a lot of tactics do come into it because although you do want to get out nice and quick and get away from the pack, it is a long race, and particularly in this soft sand like we have here in Australia, once those legs start to fill with lactic acid, it can be really tough to keep moving.
Yes, absolutely. It's very different to running on the road or the path. Once your legs give way, it's very, very hard to get that blood flow moving around and get going again. As you can see, the girls looks like their pace is slow, but it's not. It's just because that wind is very, very strong. So here we have the girls. We've got Alex and North Cronulla out in front doing very well, and just sitting in behind there a little bit, some of the North Burleigh girls who I mentioned before, Savannah Bush, not too far away, but they're all going Indian file because, as I said, that southerly is getting up to 40k knots today, so very strong.
Court, you were down on the course this morning giving it a look. What did you see down there on the beach, and also how much is that wind playing into things?
The first thing I thought was, wow, pain, because it's so soft. As you can have a look at the girls' feet when we get back to that shot in a moment, are these beautiful drone shots. We can see the girls. They're beautiful techniques as well. So technique running on the beach is a little bit different to the pavement. You've really got to be up on your toes. There's no flat feet here. Up on your toes, stretching out. You can see their arms are quite relaxed. I don't want to use too much energy in the top end of their body, but it's looking like it's really going to come down to a good fight at the end.
Now that pace has started to settle down. We have 5 competitors out in front. We have just lost 2 on that turn to end the very first lap, but there is still, more than 2.5 laps to go. So it is a race of tactics that we are seeing at the moment. Courtney, you mentioned there about the competitors running in the steps of each other. Can you talk to us about that and where the benefit comes from there?
Yeah, so what happens is when you run in the steps of someone else, not only are you relaxing and not thinking about your pace, but you're also getting the deeper, harder sand. So on top, it's very, very soft, but underneath, it's a little bit harder. And as you can see, the girls, they're really clumped together.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing right now, looking at this drone shot, tactically, they're slowing it down, and they are all getting ready for a sprint finish towards the end.
3 wide coming into this next turn, and now we start to see a little bit of pace get put down from McKee. She is hoping to turn this third turn of the race in front. It looks as though she will do that, and now we can see some of the rest of the competitors look for those footsteps as well, Courtney. It's a tough one because I can imagine not only is the fatigue starting to set in, but the nerves are starting to climb too. All of these athletes know that there will be one big final push at the end, and it's about timing that correctly so you don't run out of gas short of the finish line.
Yeah, you have to be really smart how you go about sand running, and that's why these girls practice this over and over again. It's the hardest type of running you can do. Sand, you don't get that bounce that you usually would when you have running shoes on. So at the moment, the girls are just really pacing themselves, big breaths. So we'll look and see how they're going there. But yeah, you can just see, as you can see, their hair, the ponytails flying back. That is definitely that strong southerly.
Yeah, it is certainly blowing here today on the Gold Coast. It is North Cronulla in 1, North Burleigh in 2, Noosa in 3, Alexandra Headlands in 4, and Wanda in 5. That is our lead pack, and they have certainly stretched a long way out in front. So we are approaching the halfway mark of this 2 kilometre beach run race. And now you can start to see the look of pain starting to set in on their faces. Courtney, it's a very tough one to try and manage. In these situations when your legs do get so fatigued, what are some of the things they're trying to think just to keep their bodies moving?
Yeah, it's a really good question. What are you trying to think? Well, it's definitely making sure your body's keeping nice and compact, nice and strong out there. Mentally, everyone is hurting, and that's the thing about sand running. It is very, very hard. So these girls are all super tough athletes, and it's really just about, being tactical. And sometimes you can have your own race plan, you know your pace. But at the moment, you can see Savannah Bush, she is just really trotting in behind there. So she's tactically, maybe this isn't the pace she always does, but certainly she's rolling with the pace of this race right now. So it's going off how your body feels as well. I always know doing sand running, you can have some moments where you feel really strong. Go with that. If you're starting to feel a little bit like the lactic acid is coming in, set back a little bit, but extremely tactical, and you can mentally break someone very quickly in a run like this. So I'm getting excited for the finish. We're not too far away.
Well, it looks as though we might have just seen that at that very moment, because North Cronulla and North Burleigh are now stretching their lead out in front. These are the chase packs at the moment. The pace is certainly still on back there as well, as everyone is fighting for every position throughout this race today. But it looks as though at this stage of the youth female 2 kilometre beach run, it is a race in 2 at this point, but that lead is not too far at all. It's Noosa in 3, Wanda in 4, and then we go back to Alexandra Headland in 5. There is a gap now, Courtney, but it's not a huge gap. It can still be closed up.
Yeah, it is a little bit. It's going to be really tough. I think at the moment, I like to be sitting in second place there. I think you've got a little bit of a gap over third and fourth. That is going to be very tricky to try and catch up. But again, it's definitely they're still in contention, third and fourth. And at the moment, this is really the hurt locker. This is coming into that southerly. They've still got a little while to go. It's still, you're not going to see them at their full flight at the moment, but we're certainly not too far away.
It's a funny thing to reflect on, that the wind can have such a big role in a running race as well. It's not like it is when we're out on the ocean, but what kind of effect does it have to run into a headwind like that, if not just mentally? Yeah,
it's really, really tough. It slows you down. And again, I was speaking about where you can be broken in races like this, and the wind, it really just backs off that pace a fair bit. You don't feel like you're kind of flying, like when they turn around going with that south to north way. You just feel like you get a little bit of speed up, gives you a little bit of confidence. So as you can see, the girls now, they're looking a little bit fatigued, but they are now turning for their last and final lap.
3 laps down, there is 1 to go until we crown the new youth female 2 kilometre beach run world champion. And at this point of the race, it is between North Cronulla and North Burleigh. That lead is stretched out a long way now. We will keep an eye on the battle for that bronze medal as well, but this is where the world championship is about to be won. Things are starting to rise here, Courtney.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can see all the girls, they're just starting to really get, I guess you can see their shoulders getting ready to tuck on in. Their legs are getting ready to just, relaxing a little bit now. But as soon as we see them turn that pole, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a few moves created there. So it might be a bit of back and forth. Who knows? We've seen Savannah Bush. She's been sitting there the whole way. We'll just grab that name of that first competitor. She's running very, very well.
So it's Sarah McKee out in front. She's the current Australian under-17 2 kilometre beach run champion. Savannah Bush in second as well. You mentioned there the game of cat and mouse. We'll start to see that come in. Who is going to go first? It looks as though Sari wants to run this race on her terms at the moment. And then it looked as though we had Wanda coming in to the bottom of that frame before, looking for that bronze medal as well. So now that the field is starting to lap each other, it gets a little tricky to pull out caps. But now that move has been made. The Australian champion, Sarah McKee, has dropped the hammer and she is stretching her lead out in front. There is still about 100 metres to go in this race. And Courtney, she's about to become a world champion. What a move that was.
Oh, Sarah McKee looked so good the whole way. She led it really from the start and looked very, very strong. We had Savannah Bush sitting in there the whole way. But look at Sarah McKee. I tell you what, I was talking about how hard sand running is, but she does not look like that is worrying her at all.
A dominant run. She has controlled it on her terms and she's about to be rewarded for it. The Australian champion is about to become the world champion. Sarah McKee from North Cronulla, the world champion in the Interclub Youth Female 2 kilometre beach run.
Oh, congratulations, Sarah. What a fantastic run. And she looked brilliant the whole way. She really absolutely blitzed the field. And we'll see Savannah Bush. She's coming along there to take that second spot. Congratulations, Savannah. Been a massive couple of weeks for you. But Sarah McKee, congratulations. We're going to see, I tell you what, she could jump up and do the Opens, I think. But world champion, Sarah McKee. And we've actually got Christy Munro down the beach, so we'll be really excited to hopefully hear from Christy very, very shortly.
Yeah, as all the competitors catch their breath, that is one of the most grueling races that we do see on our program here at the Lifesaving World Championships. Running on soft sand is tough enough at any time, let alone sprinting for 2 kilometres. A well-deserved rest there too. It was Wanda who came across the line for the bronze medal, Noosa picking up 4th place, and Alexandra Headland is going to round out the top 5. So those 5 athletes that we did see break away early in the race were rewarded for that move, Courtney.
Yeah, they definitely did. The men's will be watching on by, not too far away. And great point you make there, Sam. That 5-pack that broke away, and no one seemed to get in contention of that top 5. They really closed it down, made that gap. So for me, seeing that, it really says that, okay, you really can't let that top pack go. But Sarah McKee, well done. She really set that pace up, and that sometimes happens with running. You see that, I guess, that leader, they're in their zone, they're in their comfort zone, their pace. So she really set her pace, and she was comfortable because she was able to turn that last flag and absolutely just put the accelerator on.
So just to confirm those results, they have now been made official. Sarah McKee from North Cronulla is the new world champion ahead of Savannah Bush from North Burleigh in second. Sienna Alderson from Wanda with a really strong kick on the way home to claim that bronze medal ahead of Sienna Carter in 4 from Noosa. Stevie Gibson from Alexandra Headland routing out our top 5. Jessica Henville from Wanda making an All-Australian top 6, and this is where the move was made right from the gun.
Yeah, look at Sarah go. She just looked incredible. She's so light on her feet as well. So she'll be very, very happy about that one, and going to be very, very tough to beat in the future. Absolutely. We'll see her hopefully in that open competition. But congratulations, Sarah. You are world champion.
And she never strayed too far from the front, did she? We can see the race now, the highlights of that run that we've just seen. She's controlling it on her terms. That's a really important thing to do.
Yeah, she did. She looked fantastic, and we're so lucky. Christy Munro is actually down with our new world champion on the beach.
Thank you, Courtney. I'm down here with Sari. You were the Australian champion, now the world champion 2K beach runner. You've had a bit of a chance to catch your breath as we're watching the rest of the field finish. That obviously went to plan for you.
Yeah, it's pretty windy today, so I wasn't sure what race tactic to do, but I just trusted myself and broke away in that last 250, so pretty happy with it.
And how was that pace? We were talking about the excruciating pain you must have been in with the wind. Obviously, 2K sand running is hard enough without that really strong southerly. Was the pace fast, or did you purposely slow it down a bit today?
Well, it was definitely a bit slower than Aussie's pace because, windy and hard conditions. So on the way out, it was good because you had the wind with you, but way back, the pace was a bit slower because wind against us, so yeah.
And you've obviously put in a huge off-season of training to keep yourself going. We would normally be having a bit more of a break over winter, but you've had to train for this World Championships. What type of preparation has gone in to be able to be the world champion 2K beach runner?
Just sand running every week. I've had a bit of touch footy, so it was hard to keep it consistent. But yeah, with my coach, Jock, he's been really good just getting me ready for it. And obviously would have liked a bit more of a break, but it is what it is, so yeah.
Well, unbelievable. You're hardly even puffed after that. Huge congratulations. You're the world champion.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy, and congratulations to Sari. Gee, you can't wipe the smile off her face, and for good reason. That was an incredible run, and she gets the spoils for it, world champion.
Oh, what a beautiful girl. She's so humble, isn't she? So she's I loved how she spoke about that, her off-season training. But Sam, we now look into those full results.
Yeah, that's right. We did run through that top 6 before. Great to see Abigail Skinder from Canada, an international athlete here for us in Australia on the Gold Coast, into that top 10 as well. Tia Watson from UAE and Kiani Baker from Noosa rounding out that top 10. But at the front, it was Sari McKee, the new Interclub Youth 2 kilometre female world champion. And Courtney, gee, that's one way to start the day. We are already now underway in our second final of the day, and that is the Interclub Youth men's 2 kilometre beach run. It's a big field, they're spread out, and the pace is on right from the start.
Yes, I definitely feel like maybe the boys have got the adrenaline pumping, I think, after watching the women's, and they've seen Sari crowned world champion there, and I think all of them are saying, you know what, I want that as well. So the pace is really on us. You can see their feet, the bottom of their feet lifting up with that sand flicking off the back of them. So the pace is very, very hot. Remember, as Sari said before, very fast on the way down, but then she said you felt very slow on the way back. So they're definitely not going slow, but we'll see the men's. They get very close to turning for the first time. Remember, they do have 4 laps, so it's going to be they've got a very long way to go.
250 metres into this race, and that field is stretched out a very long way. That is even more pace than we expected to see, as that lead pack now starts to try and settle down and find a rhythm. Not easy to do after you put down some pace like that.
Yeah, a little bit different to what the girls. We saw that top 5 really break away very, very quickly. But at the moment, we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 competitors that are actually bunched into that first group. And we see our 14th competitor just kind of by himself there, dropping off about 5 metres. So very, very interesting. And we'll see how long this big bunch will actually stay together. I wouldn't be surprised if when we turn about halfway, we might see that break up a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. We'll start to try and pick up some of these caps for you now. We do have the competitors from Northcliffe out in front, and great to see some of our international competitors representing the Indian Lifesaving and Lifesaving Sports Federation right there as well. Wanda, Kurrawa Beach just down the road. We can see Alexandra Headland, and then, another big pack starting to come through. So we are 1 lap down. There are 3 to go, and at this point, there's not much separating the field.
Yeah, there certainly is. From first to kind of midway pack there, it's very, very close as we see one of the local athletes out there from Kurrawa doing very well, sitting in a nice, comfy position. I think at the moment, I mean, tactically, we saw Sari go out in front and she kind of sat in for that first lap, but after that, she really led the way. If there's an opportunity to sit in and save a little bit of energy, I can't remember what the percentage is when you sit behind someone. It's only reasonably low, but you do save a little bit and you can just relax the shoulders, have a little bit of a breather, not thinking about the pace too much and letting that front person kind of set that out. So it's really interesting. Oh, someone just actually, it might be Alexandra Headland, just had a little bit of a trip there. So when I say conserving and trying to turn off just for a moment, you've got to be extremely aware because you can have a little moment that sand, trip over, it's not even surfaces, so you've always got to be on.
So it does look like Nicholas Clayton from BMD Northcliffe just down the road. This is, almost his own stretch of sand, only 1 kilometre away out in front now. But now the race is starting to settle in. We will try and check back in with Christy Munro down on the sand at some point as well to get a feel for what the pace is like, because we had about 15 competitors in that lead pack after the opening lap. Now we're down to 8, Courtney. So things are starting to whittle away, just like we saw in the female youth race.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we started off with that 13 and it's just starting to, I guess, drop off one by one. And the competitors out in the front, as you said, Northcliffe, they're only 2 kilometres away. So they're the length of this race away from where they're running right now to Kurrawa. And yeah, it's really looking like, if you're up the front, you can actually have a little sneaky look when you turn around that pole. But we're so lucky to have Christy Munro down the beach, so we'll grab something from her in a moment just to see how that pace is going, how the athletes, their body language, how their face. Well, we just had a breakaway.
That is a big move that we have seen in this race. Wanda has said that he has had enough, and with 1 kilometre to go of this 2 kilometre sprint, he has absolutely dropped the hammer. That was an incredible turn of speed.
Yeah, he really waited for his moment, and wow, that was fantastic, wasn't he? He looks very, very good, and he's past the halfway mark now at the moment, stretching out, nice long stride. He looks super composed. There's no fatigue or anything going on at the moment in his body, just very, very relaxed, using his core nice and strong as well. So, wow, what a moment to drop the hammer, as you said, Sam.
He is absolutely flying across the sand. That is a huge move and admittedly a huge roll of the dice as well. It's a long way out from home to be running like that, but now he has got a huge lead. Christy Munro has been down on the beach watching the action. We'll try and check in with Christy now. Christy, what a move we just saw in this race.
Yes, we're seeing a very different race to the women's race earlier. They chose to stick into a pack until that last final stages, but as you mentioned, a huge breakaway from the Wanda competitor, and he looks fantastic. So he's obviously confident in the training that he has done, going for a break this early out, or maybe he doesn't think he has that back end speed and he needs to go now. But either way, he has made a very brave decision and is looking really, really strong.
Thank you very much, Christy. Yeah, it's a brave decision to say the least. Courtney, we're starting to see that pace come off ever so slightly. but it's a huge lead, and now there's only 500 metres to go.
Yeah, I like the confidence. I like, he saw the moment. He sensed the energy that it was his time to go. And I mean, you know, you can also mentally break the rest of the pack as well. But I like it. I like when an athlete really backs themselves. I mean, this is why they train incredibly hard. Chrissy made a great point in saying maybe he feels like he's not as confident at the end there. But who wants to do a sprint finish? I mean, that's the last scenario. And thinking and talking about quick on the sand, Chrissy Munro, she's very humble, but I tell you what, she's one we could definitely send out there, and she would fly across the sand as well. So, and we're looking now, we've got Alexandra Headland and the local boy from Kurrawa.
Yeah, that's right. But out in front, it is all Wanda at the moment. We do believe that's Kyle Mason that is leading at this stage, but we are waiting for confirmation on that. And he has put in a huge gap. Look at the size of that lead with just 250 to 300 metres to go in this race. Rewarded for his bravery at this point. Look, you do watch the race and wonder, will the legs start to slow up with lactic acid after a move like that? But that pace has been on now for 500 metres since he settled into that rhythm. This is amazing.
Yeah, once he made that move, he kind of really went for it, but then he settled back into his pace. So I feel like he's just going past one of the competitors now who's just on their third lap at the moment. But he really had time to relax and recover, and now he's really able to settle in. And also what's really great at the moment, he's able to go around that turn and look at where the rest of the field is.
Yeah, that's right. He went early into the race, 1 kilometre in, but that lead has only gotten bigger and bigger, and now he's charging towards the finish line. Wanda is a proud club when it comes to the 2 kilometre beach run. They've experienced so much success over the years, but this is one that the club will be talking about for a very, very long time. At the World Championships of 2024, the Interclub Youth 2 kilometre men's beach run, and in this case, it has been a beach sprint.
Oh, that was a fantastic run. And talking about Wanda, you see the smile on his face there. They've got those wonderful hills to run up and down, so fantastic place to run. I know they've got a great beach squad as well, but congratulations, world champion.
What a way to start day one of the Interclub Youth competition so far. Kyle Mason from Wanda Surf Lifesaving Club in Australia, a deserved gold medalist here in the second race of the day with that is one of the most dominant 2 kilometre performances you will see in the sport. We are starting to pick up these caps as they're coming through now. It does look like that is Kurrawa in second as we see him running past some competitors who are still on their third lap at the moment. But silver is going to Kurrawa, bronze will go to Alexandra Headlands. All very well deserved after putting up with that early pace and then holding on for that second kick as well. Alex Shepherd from Kurrawa wins silver here in the Interclub Youth men's 2 kilometre beach run. And Kaiden Pickering from Alexandra Headland, the bronze. That is our top 3.
Oh, Kyle Mason, congratulations. Take a bow. That was fantastic. That was inspirational. And I love the confidence he had to go. And he just picked his timing perfectly. He went, okay, this is me. I back myself to be able to lead this whole way. And he did it by himself. And a lot of people, as we just see some of the other athletes just coming in now, and well done for having that amount of energy at the end there. I tell you what, they're very, very fit. But to have that confidence to go and to hold himself, I really love that in athletes when they do that, because you've got to back yourself. You've got to know, I put the training in, and he did that. And Kyle Mason, you are now world champion.
And Courtney, how great is it to see the places just off the podium as well? From Germany in 4th place, Stefan Mann. In 5th was Nicholas Clayton from BMD Northcliffe. We saw him set that early pace as well, and we will bring you the rest of that top 10 too. But for Stefan, how great to come from the other side of the world. It was a 30-hour commute. Even though he was sitting down on that plane, his legs are firing, and he's here in Australia. A 4th place finish at the Interclub World Championships. An incredible, incredible run.
Oh, that's fantastic. As you said, the hours on that plane, certainly he'll be, he's done very well to stretch them out and get them ready for one of the hardest races. As we look at that start, that replay, it was very, very tight.
Yeah, 6, 7, 8 wide even off that start line, all driving the pace. And as I mentioned just then, it was Nicholas Clayton from BMD Northcliffe as well, joined by two of our runners that are representing India here at the Interclub World Championships too. But this was the moment that the race was won. Out of nowhere, Kyle Mason, he hadn't been at the front of that field. He was biding his time, and hasn't he earned it as well? He dropped the hammer, and in the blink of an eye, he had a lead that was, more than 100 metres. It was extraordinary.
As we saw in the drone shot before, we didn't see actually anyone inside, and he just absolutely perfect. That was picture perfect, the way he raced that. And unfortunately, the other athletes just couldn't go with him, and they just had to settle back and kind of say to themselves, you know what, we're going to have to be happy with second place, which is incredible in the world for all these athletes, you know, to get all the positions they have. But we'll be lucky enough not too far away to have Kyle Mason, and Christy's actually found him right now, our world champion.
Thanks, Courtney. I'm down here on the beach with the world champion, Kyle Mason. We talked about that brave move you made halfway through. Was that something you decided to do before the race, or was that a spur-of-a-moment decision?
I've always enjoyed going halfway through the race. It just adds an extra bit of excitement for me, getting to go on that longer bit. So I planned it, but I went a bit earlier than I would have thought, but the wind just threw a few things up.
Yeah, this wind is no joke down here. And this is an event that we don't get to race too often. So how do you prepare for an event like this?
I've got a lot of training with my coach, Jock Campbell, and he's sand specialist. So every week on the sand, just running.
Well, you can obviously tell you've put a huge amount of work in. You looked incredibly strong and comfortable in this soft sand against that headwind. What have you got left for the rest of the program?
Only on the beach this year, so I've got the relays tomorrow, the opens on Friday, and then the opens relay on Saturday.
Well, a fantastic way to start the program, Kyle. You're the Youth 2K World Champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. Feels awesome.
And so it should. Kyle Mason from Wanda, congratulations. That was an extraordinary run. Thank you very much, Christy. And look, he's jogging off in the background as well, Courtney, too. He's still got some energy in the legs, and he's going to, too. It was interesting to note that he said that he's going to be racing as well in the Open Championships as well. We'll have a chat about the eligibility around the ages for that, but that is something that he can do. And I tell you what, if he runs like that, it's going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, I think if any of the Opens are watching right now in the live stream, definitely be afraid, because he did fantastic. We look over on the screen right now, we see the results. Obviously, Kyle Mason absolutely taking that from the start. Alex Shepherd, congratulations, from the Kurrawa Club, not too far away. And then we Kyton Pickering, also he's from the Alexandra Headlands Club, should I say. And then we move on to Germany. BMD, we saw Nicholas Clayton, not too far away from Curra Beach at Northcliffe. He really led that from the start there. And
wasn't Beheshraj and Kane impressive in that run as well? He and his teammate were both really pushing the early pace. Beheshraj holding on for that 6th place finish. That was a really impressive run. Plenty of Canadian caps in there as well as we cycle through that field. It was a truly international race here at the 2024 Lifesaving World Championships, as they have been across the week already as well, and things are only going to continue to ramp up now that we are into our interclub competition as well. So a reminder for those that are just joining us, the water events will not be going ahead today. We do have extreme southerly winds that have been whipped up and are going to build throughout the day. The swell was predicted to be 3.5 metres out of the south, so a decision had to be made early on that to communicate that to competitors. And although that swell hasn't quite arrived in the way that officials were told that it would, or officials did fear, the decision has been made to combine today's events over the next 2 days of the program. Being an Interclub World Championships, Courtney, some of those, the event program is lighter than what we normally see at a Surf Life Saving Carnival, and that allows us, I guess, the opportunity to spread those events out. And when we have so many competitors travelling from all corners of the globe, it's a great decision to be able to do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, looking at that weather, we're going up to 40 knots south-southeasterly later on today, but we just see a few of the highlights throughout the weekend. Sam, we had a lot of potholes out there. We had some long running. It was almost most of the time a run, swim, run, or a run, board run. So we see some of our youth athletes. There's Lani Waller going around there at the moment, and they did incredibly well. It was a really tough week for them. They, kind of got to 30, 40 plus races. So, and also Loving the M-shaped course as well for the Ocean woman and Ocean man out there, as well as the Ocean mixed taplin. Jasmine Raywood, she is not only a future star, she is a star right now, and she took out the 4 sweep. So she had the swim, board, ski, and the Ocean woman. So the Australian girls looking very happy there, but it's they also have a big week to come as well. We'll see a few of them also just see hugs there, and a few emotion, a few tears. They were very tired towards the end there, absolutely.
Yeah, it was an incredible weekend of racing as well in the national competitions. So many highlights across the week. 2 things that are standing out to me at the moment as we look at these conditions across that sandbank is how is this wind, how is this arrival of a little bit of swell going to change those conditions over the next couple of days? Because, as you did point out before, we received northerly winds throughout the national competition. Today it's going from the south, and although it is going to switch back later in the week, Courtney, you've lived and raced on this stretch of sand for so long. Do the conditions change quickly in terms of the banks?
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. So actually we've had a northerly for the last week, and then last night the southerly kicked in. So northerly winds usually bring a little bit of a talking water temperature a little bit colder. So when the south comes in, we see the water warm up a little bit. We did see a little bit of swell out there, but not as big as what probably some of the Australians and the New Zealanders would have liked. But listening to Ty and Josh did some incredible interviews over the last couple of days, and a lot of the athletes, they said they don't go and surf too often. This is our international competitors. I know the South Africans said they love wind. They're in it all the time, and they really, really excelled. But there was quite a few of the internationals said, we don't see this type of wind, this type of swell. We mainly go in flat conditions because listening from, for example, the athletes from Ireland, 15 degrees. That's their their warmest water. 3 degrees is their coldest. So to see, could be that is Corey Taylor, also Joe Collins out there going very, very well. But they were explaining that. So this is actually day 2 highlights on screen of the youth, and when you look at that on screen, they look like opens. They don't look like youth, and we have a couple of friends that popped in to say hello. Yeah,
it's been an incredible week so far, if not more, at the 2024 Lifesaving World Championships. So just a reminder to those who are tuning in, we will be having the Youth Interclub Beach Relays coming up shortly. As Courtney and I have been discussing, a decision has been made to delay the water events today and have those combined over the rest of the weekend as well. Now, Courtney, when you were racing, did you like having a bit of wind? Did you like it to be more flat? What kind of difference do you find that these conditions actually do make? And I guess how challenging is it to be paddling out there on a day on a ski that already weighs 18 kilograms and the wind's 40 knots and climbing?
Yeah, so we just saw one of the Japanese athletes. They just fell over, just tripped over one of that was one of the one of the moments with those potholes taking out. But yeah, it's a really great question. I felt the older I got and hopefully more experience over time, I liked wind more. When I was a bit younger, I felt, hadn't been on the ski as long, a little bit tippy. So when I got older, I actually really loved the wind and the swell because it really gave me an opportunity to play out in the ocean, which is one of my favourite things to do. And I really tried to, I guess, go with the wind, and that's what you really have to do. Don't fight the wind. So I felt I got better with wind as I went on. So I really use it as an advantage to myself out there. So it's incredibly tough. I did a lot of paddle back, so paddling. So if, for example, today it's a massive southerly, we'd go from some of our longer paddles from the Q1 right through to here. So we do some really big paddles and just have fun out there. We'd certainly see a few whales and things like that, but it really, really excels your skills from a really early age. But wind is hard. It is one of the toughest things. Have some tricky surf, as we can see the youth on screen. They didn't have as much wind. They have a little bit chopping up there, but can you imagine having a little bit of swell, sizey swell, putting wind in there? It's the trickiest conditions you can get. Yeah, that's exactly right. So on screen at the moment, we are watching the highlights across the national teams competition as well. Australia going on to win both the youth and the open competitions. But tell you what, they were pushed all the way by New Zealand. And one thing that I really loved watching from afar about this year's edition of the national teams competition was that there was such a dominant presence from our international teams as well. It wasn't Australia and New Zealand necessarily dominating like we have seen in the past, and although like we have seen on that exact shot on screen right there, but it was also some of our competitors from South Africa, like we can see right there on screen. That was one of the great moments, winning the youth ski race as well. You can see what it means to these nations, and it was a really special few days of racing. The interviews that I heard were some of the best I have ever heard in my whole life. The raw emotion was absolutely beautiful. And the way all these internationals, they look up to the Australians and New Zealanders, and it was just, they said, some of them said, I can't believe I'm lining up to so-and-so, and they're right next to me, and they're my hero, and that's really what it's all about. But we did see that. We saw that young man from South Africa. He took out the win, Matthew. He was fantastic. The girls from Spain, they took out the board rescue. They were jumping around. That was the best celebration. Egypt took out the men's and women's.
Wasn't that an incredible moment?
Oh, that was one of Josh's favourite moments. Doing the interview with them after, we just see South Africa again. They were fantastic. They actually took out the youth, both men's and women's flags events there. So, and here he's backing up to take the double. They got them up on their shoulders after that, the celebration. But there has been a great presence. Great Britain have been fantastic. They have really stuck in there the whole way, as well as France. I believe potentially it's post the Olympics. They're feeling really on a high at the moment. Also, obviously the Paralympics as well. So we're going to move now to the Open highlights. So this is actually day one of the Opens out here now.
Well, Courtney, you mentioned the phrase, the Olympics, they're safe right across the world. Sport is the best possible way to involve people in that, and we're achieving that as a movement.
Yeah, we definitely are. And I feel like the way that the athletes have improved in this World Championships has been fantastic. I thought to myself, coming down here and watching them all, is it because it's been years upon years throughout the COVID years, we weren't able to get everyone together? And it's just given them that extra few years to really improve. I actually was so impressed with just how well the international athletes have done. And also, it was tricky. We spoke about there was a little bit of wind, there was that swell, and I also feel like they've got that buzz around them that potentially we could be in the Olympics. Like, we have a really great chance of, obviously we've got LA is going to be the next Olympics, but straight after that is Brisbane, and we have that shot at it. So I really feel like their skills and everything, they're working very, very hard behind the scenes. So I was incredibly impressed, and I'm so excited just to we're having that conversation at the moment. It's a phenomenal sport. These athletes work incredibly hard, and we see that from even the youth. You know, you see the youth out there, just how determined and how much they want to be involved and be a part of it, because they've obviously also potentially have a goal. Hey, I can be an Olympian one day, and I think having that in our movement, you know, not only spreading the word and having that, you know, the internationals pushing themselves and really challenging their skills, but we look at youth internationally, our Australians, our New Zealanders, that youth to have that opportunity, it just really, it makes our sport go to that another level. And, you know, being a kid, you need to have heroes, you need to have a dream, you need to have something to aspire to. So to have that, you know, we look at 15, 16-year-olds, they're potentially going to be at their absolute peak. So we're looking at the athletes and the youth that we'll be watching over today and also tomorrow. That is potentially, you are going to be looking at our future Olympians.
Which is a really exciting thought, isn't it? The way it works with the Olympics is that each Olympics, each host nation, there are a number of sports that can be included as local sports that do get added to the program. In LA, it's going to be flag football. So, you know, for something like Australia, it's quintessentially Australian lifesaving, but there is such an international presence. I know that what the format that is currently being discussed generally looks like a team of 4 athletes. There'll be 2 male and female mixed iron races, as well as a mixed ocean man and ocean woman relay as well. And we saw the success of that in these pictures that we are seeing as well at the moment. These are highlights from the national teams competition that we did see over the weekend, and some of those mixed races were the most exciting races on the program, and that's another step forward as well for the sport. It is an incredible thought, isn't it, to think that the platform that lifesaving can be broadcast to across the world. But, you know, maybe I'm biased, Courtney, but I think it's a really strong bid. I think it's a really strong pitch.
Oh, no, you're not being biased at all. You are absolutely spot on, Sam. It's the fitness and the skill that these athletes have that we're looking on screen watching these highlights over over these last couple of days from all over the world. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. There's Sara Tazaki. She was representing Japan. She trains over here in Australia. And to see, I've known her since she was a very young girl. And to see her skill improve, she was right up there with the men's that Japan actually sent her. For example, they sent her off for the swim first in that ocean mixed relay, and she was not too far behind. So it's just really showing what our athletes can do. And yeah, I was highly impressed. And 3 times a day, 6 days a week. That's what these athletes are training out there, and these are professional athletes. It is one of the hardest sports in the world. A lot of people like to look at it training-wise like triathletes with that 3 times a week. Some pool swimmers as well. It's a lot of disciplines. It's a lot to manage every day, and a lot of these athletes are giving up work, uni, to be able to make it and to be able to live out their dream. So it's a lot of sacrifice, and it just gives me chills just watching all of these shots on screen, being here this week, and then watching the youth and looking at, if we get that bid, and I hope we do, praying every night that we do, because we deserve to be there. It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned there reflecting on the journey that it's been. Well, I guess there is a bit of reflection going on this week here as well. The first Lifesaving World Championships were held in Vancouver in 1986. The second, just down the road at Southport in 1988. It's been 36 years since the Lifesaving World Championships have been here on the Gold Coast. And I guess that gives you pause for reflection as well, to think about how much has changed throughout that time as well. Courtney, throughout your career, did you find that the international presence of lifesaving was continuing to spread further and further into some of these smaller lifesaving nations?
Absolutely, definitely. I remember my first World Championships was over in Germany. I think I was about 18 years old, and it was moving from Sawtell. It was all surf lifesaving wasn't new to me. I'd certainly been a part of it, but coming from a very small town in northern New South Wales to then moving to the Gold Coast and kind of opening my eyes to, wow, every kilometre, 2 kilometres down the beach, you have a surf club. You've got athletes out there training. That was an eye-opener. And then going over to Germany and just meeting so many different friends and racing up against different athletes. And I remember making the swim final and doing heats, heat 1, heat 2, quarter, semi, and then getting to the final. And it was just fantastic. It was one of the best trips I've ever had. And it's from then, it has grown, developed, and I really believe Australia have really led the way in the skill aspect, purely because, we've got beaches, we've got creeks, and we've got great weather for that access. And I feel like the internationals have been watching the Australians, New Zealanders very, very closely and going, okay, this is what we can do, this is what we need to do. And you also see cross athletes as well, from kayaking and swimming. We also are seeing a lot of, I noticed definitely at the moment, a lot of runners, and that's why we see in the 2K events earlier on this morning why the pace is so fast, because these will go from the Australian athletes. These young kids are winning cross-country Australia-wide. So triathletes, cross-country runners, swimmers, kayakers, we've just got athletes that are making the Olympics in all different other sports who have either started in surf lifesaving or are still in surf lifesaving today.
Yeah, that's right. And we mentioned some of the, crossover athletes. On screen at the moment, we're seeing the ski racing from the national team's highlights as well. In third place there on screen, that's Judith Vergesifra from Spain. And, she's also an outstanding downwind ocean ski paddler too. I've been lucky enough to race around the world and train in all different corners of the world as well. And I think sometimes as Australian surf lifesaving athletes, we can fall into the trap of thinking that, the world revolves around us and the sport revolves around us. But, some of these destinations like, Fishhook, who we saw on screen before from South Africa, Fishhook has produced so many world champions now in surf lifesaving ski paddling. We're having competitors from America that I've trained with as well that I could see on screen before too. The Europeans in downwind paddling are winning as many races now as Australia and South Africa. This is where sport is going more generally, and surf lifesaving is really benefiting from that as well, because again, Great Britain on screen, it's there is so much more for us to tap into as a sport, and I think that's the beauty of having events like this, like the Lifesaving World Championships, where everyone can come together, not just race against each other and experience that, but it's the sharing of ideas that we, tapped into before with Christy down on the beach, was that there is so much information to be shared that can help upskill athletes and coaches, importantly, as well, right around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And imagine having our first Olympics here in Australia as well.
Oh, how good would that be? Just
down the road. It would be so, so special. And I know that Curra would certainly be putting their hand up to take that location out. Curra Surf Life Saving Club, you have been fantastic. And every time you put on a carnival, I tell you what, you make the magic happen. And it's been wonderful, Sam. I don't know if you've been up there yet, but I've been up there in the festival zone. It's been fantastic. We have race one up there, all your surf craft needs as well. Plenty of food, plenty of coffee. It's all happening up there, and it's just a wonderful vibe, isn't it? And I also love hearing all the different accents. It's fantastic.
It truly is an international event, and you're completely right too about the event setup that we do have here as well. If you are watching from anywhere in the region, anywhere on the Gold Coast, make sure you come down over across the week as well. Not just the national competitions that were the headline act, the interclub competition is going to be absolutely huge. So for the next 2 days, including today, the next 2 days, is the Interclub Youth Competition. Now that features athletes who turn 15, 16, 17 or 18 years of age before December 31 this year. So they are racing for the next 3 days, and then beginning on Friday, it's our Interclub Open teams. Now, we heard it before with Kyle Mason. You can be as young as 16 to be able to race in both events, but of course you do have to be selected on the team as well, because clubs are able to have up to 10 women and 10 men competing, which I think is a really great initiative that is unique to the World Championships as well, because we have so many big dominant surf clubs here in Australia. I like that we get to kind of even the playing field a little bit and have more representation from some of those smaller clubs or international clubs from right around the world too.
Yeah, you're spot on, Sam. It's and it's really wonderful. I've actually heard a few athletes are actually going to be racing for their first initial club they're a part of. I think that's absolutely wonderful. There's a lot of athletes that have moved to Queensland, obviously with the training, with the weather. It's a little bit easier than our New South Welshman competitors. I definitely know that. I am a New South Welshman, so I understand, absolutely. And they're going back to their roots and competing for their former clubs. And I think that's fantastic that this championships gives them that opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is so much of that to look forward to, and there's still so much to look forward to today on the program as well. We just saw some shots of our Interclub Youth female beach relay teams getting ready for their heats. We'll bring you those start lists as they start to get a little bit closer to competition. At the moment, Courtney, this is the current situation out of the water as well. We saw that drone shot that was showing off the conditions. There will be no water events today, as was originally planned. You could see there that the wind is really flying into the Gold Coast at the moment. It is currently blowing upwards of about 20 to 25 knots and expected to continue to build. But the big one for officials was that we were looking at a groundswell of more than 3 metres out of the south. And at Kurrawa, that can make for really dangerous competition. So it wasn't expected to last long. That wind isn't going to last long. Things will be back to more calm conditions tomorrow, and the decision was made to push those water events to tomorrow's program. But you know what I love about this as well is that it actually just gives us a chance to focus on the beach as well. The beach is taking centre stage, and what an arena it is here too at Kurrawa Beach at Surfers Paradise. And now, Courtney, we will start to get into it a little bit more as we do draw closer to that opening heat, but the wind doesn't make things easy on the sand. We heard both of our winners, Sari and Kyle, speaking to that. But in a beach relay, well, half the team's going to have to run straight into it the whole way. They don't get that return leg too.
I wonder if they do scissors, paper, rock, or who gets the shortest sticks to see which way they go. But no, the coaches and the teams, the management teams will all talk together and be like, okay, we need to get our most powerful runners. They need to go straight into the wind. So I think, look, beach sprinting for me, I haven't been picked for a long, long time, so it's probably a good reason for that. I'm probably more of a long distance runner, but certainly for me, you heard the Sari talking this morning, and she said it's a lot slower on the way back home into that south. So I think for looking at it, coaches, you'll see a lot of the teams put their strongest and quickest runners running back into that wind because they're going to lap up that faster. So it'll be really interesting to see who goes where. But I think looking into it, if I had a team, that's what I would do. Quickest runners go into the wind.
Yeah, that's right. So we can see a few flags getting around. The great Adam Crane is down there on the beach. If you haven't seen the videos that are getting posted to the World Lifesaving Federation's social media channels, International Lifesaving, ILS, make sure you do check that out because the coverage has been great here so far at the competition and it really captures the spirit that we are seeing, which is just everyone really enjoying it too. Even the officials, the great Phil McGibbon on the right of screen there too. I almost got that feeling of being nervous when I heard his voice over the PA system today. It reminds me of being in so many finals here in surf lifesaving for a very long time as well. Phil on screen there in the purple shirt. A legend, the legend of surf sports, the voice of surf sports right across the world. So it is so great to have him here as always, calling all the action too down on the sand.
He loves it. He's iconic, isn't it? And yes, I know what you mean when you hear his voice. You think, okay, it's finals time. And he puts everything into it. I remember commentating a race side by side with him, and he actually doesn't even take a breath when he commentates his races. He gets very excited. You can see him there with all the athletes. But the officials are actually from all over the world, which is just fantastic. So we've obviously still got our local officials that do a wonderful job that are here as well. But they're going to be meeting a lot of friends because having those officials internationally, it's fantastic. So it's incredible. We need a lot of them and we can't do without them. And as we see the crowd really getting in there, and as we spoke about before, Curra was just it's the pinnacle of surf life saving. They have it where the crowd's set up. They have that beautiful walkway there, brand new surf life saving club across the road too. I've heard many of the athletes just staying across the road. They wake up to the sun every morning and it's just perfect. And the beautiful drone shots that we've got from both beach and ocean events has just been amazing. Also been such a beautiful privilege to be able to commentate as well, so looking on, and we kind of feel immersed into the competition, even though you can't see us, we're sitting right by you guys, but we really feel immersed with all of what you're doing. So we just see some of the youth men there warming up, and it's we see how young they are. As you talk about the age before, we have as young as 14-year-olds out there, so they're taking a day off school. I'm sure their parents will be okay with that. I'm sure they'll be okay with that as well, to be out here and moving fit, healthy bodies.
And for so many travelling from all corners of the world as well, the beach relays aren't too far away. We will be starting with the heats of the female interclub youth beach relays, and then we'll be going into the men's too. We're going to be working our way through to those finals that will be coming up. Gee, they won't wait too long, Courtney. They'll be coming away very quickly. Now, as we do see some of those officials starting to call the athletes in, getting ready for a few more briefings. Christy Munro is down on the beach. Christy, we've been speaking about these conditions throughout the morning. How is it down there on the sand now?
It's possibly a little bit worse, if you can believe that. The wind is blowing so strong that almost all of our lane ropes for our running track have been blown over with the sand. So it's going to be very, very tough if you draw that leg of the relay where you're running into this run, and they may actually even shuffle some of their order depending on who are their stronger runners, and they might choose to put those runners into the wind. But I don't think we're too far away from a start. We can see the women marshalling down there and just getting their final instructions. But yeah, this wind certainly hasn't settled down yet. We do believe it is planned to drop this afternoon, so we'll be keeping an eye on things, but very, very tough conditions for our runners.
Christy, you mentioned there the thought, the tactics that's going into setting up because of these conditions. Have you heard some of the teams reflecting on the fact that they might be changing their order?
I haven't actually heard because we're at the finish end, so I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the marshalling area down there. But I was just thinking if I was a runner or in a team, that'd be something that I'd be taking into consideration today. There's always runners who are known for their strength and then those who are known for their speed, and I'm definitely putting those stronger runners into the wind today. But there's a lot that goes into making a change. Obviously, they put a lot of preparation into these relays and the baton changes, and you practice those over and over and over again with the person that you're going to be doing the change with. So there is a little bit of a risk making any last-minute changes. So it'll be interesting to ask some of our relay teams at the end of their races if that is something that they've done or if they've just stuck with the plan.
Thank you very much, Chrissy. We will come back to you shortly because we are starting to get ready now for this opening quarterfinal in the female beach relay here at the Interclub Championships at the World Championships of 2024 on the Gold Coast. And Courtney, Chrissy touched on it there. It's a really big consideration. Baton changes are hard enough in clean conditions. In this kind of wind, there is the potential for things to go wrong.
There definitely is. That is the trickiest part of a beach relay. And we saw that there in the Olympics as well. I saw the women's 4x400 metre. I think it was Jamaica, actually, the second changeover. So the first runner ran, and in that second changeover, she actually dropped the button. So the last two girls were kind of waiting what was going on. And that's the Olympics. And for some of the girls, that was their one and only run. So it's a crucial moment. You've really, really got to be quick and fast about it, but make sure you really absolutely, go back to all the training sessions that you've done and really be on top of all of that. Going back to Egypt, I was talking to the beach coach at my club yesterday, and she said that the hardest changeover is the one-handed. Egypt, male and females at the Interclub, both won gold, and they did the one-handed changeover.
That is the product of so many hours of practice, commitment and dedication to that as well. So we will wait and see what we do have in terms of those baton changes and also the pace right across the board here in the female beach relay quarterfinals. Quarterfinal number 1 is on the line as well. We mentioned that international field. Well, it's certainly an international heat in this opening exchange. In lane number 1 will be Sunshine Beach from Australia. Lane 2 is Currumbin from Australia. Lane 3 is Bietigheim Bissingen from Germany. Lane 4, Clifton Surf Lifesaving Club from South Africa. Lane 5, BMD Northcliffe from just down the road here on the Gold Coast. And Lane 6, Luckenwald from Germany. So 3 of our teams are Australian, 3 are international, and all have plenty of pace as well. Northcliffe here in Australia, winning the under-17 female beach relay at the Australian Championships a few months ago. So, of course, there will be plenty of eyes on them, but Germany has already proven it has very deep talent stocks in the beach sprinting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is going to be very, very competitive, especially we spoke about the ocean being a lot of the, different countries were used to wind, some surf, some flat water. There was one of the athletes that was saying they paddle in a canal that's only 600 metres long, so they do a lot of reps. So everyone's a bit different, but with beach, you can run everywhere. And that's what I love about the beach competition. As I mentioned Egypt before, obviously they have a lot of sand. They love it. They're born to be really on the sand. So the one thing, with beach running I absolutely love, you don't need shoes, you don't need a board, craft, anything like that. You can run, and you can run anywhere all over the world.
And they are about to be doing that right now here on the Gold Coast. The opening heat is underway in the female beach relay, and it looked as though Northcliffe got away to a flying start. They are the Australian champions, but being pushed all the way by Clifton Beach at the moment as well as we come into the first change, and it is a clean one for both of our leaders, Courtney.
Yeah, everyone's looking really, really good out there. It was very quick. We didn't have any messy changeovers there. Extremely clean, as we can see just in the middle there. We've just had a team that's actually pulled out, so that's why that one is empty at the moment. We go into our next changeover. And again, everyone's looking very good.
And there was a considerable difference in terms of the time that it took to run this course as well, both going with the wind and then back into the wind too. So you can already see why so many of the coaches have been thinking about their order. And no, we have a drop baton from Clifton in South Africa. They've picked it back up very quickly and they are moving again. It's Northcliffe out in front. Clifton is starting to charge through to the line now. Currumbin in 3 at this stage. And it was Sunshine in 4. We will wait to see those official results because we do know that it can get quite tight with batons being dropped and picked back up before the line too. And this is Luckenwald from Germany coming across the line to finish the opening heat, the opening quarterfinal rather, of this female beach relay.
I just saw Clifton Beach just speaking there, having a little chat. I'm sure they'd say, okay, we need to really practice that for the next one. But the fourth competitor in that Clifton Beach, she ran fantastic.
Flew.
She was happy away to give that 5 metres away in that last run. She was phenomenal, and they did actually do the baton drop. It was okay because it was on the other side of that start line, so she'll be okay with that. Northcliffe obviously going very, very well. They kind of tapped off the speed a little bit at the end there, and Currumbin obviously having a very good finish towards the end too.
So we do have 4 quarterfinals. We are expecting 3 to go through, although there is the potential for officials to take 4 through to then run semis of 8 and a final of 8 as well. So we will wait to try and find out that information. But look, Courtney, this was our first taste of beach relays here today, or even our first race on the sprint track. And you could see that there is a big difference between running with the wind and then going against it.
Yes, it's certainly not got to do with everyone's pace. It's not saying the girls are any slower that are going into the wind. We heard what Christy Munro said before, that the wind has actually picked up from our 2K running this morning. So at the moment, these girls have definitely won the scissors, paper, rock going with the wind. And we said that just see from Clifton Beach that little drop, but she was very good. She didn't stress, she didn't worry about it. She picked it up and got into her run, and it was a very good run, may I say. Yeah,
really impressive pace too. So just to confirm those results, it was Clifton in 1, Currumbin in 2, Northcliffe in 3, Sunshine Beach in 4, and Luckenwald from Germany in 5. Bietigheim Bissingen, we didn't have a start there from the team from Germany. So that was our results from the opening quarterfinal of the youth female beach relay. And the second quarter is already in the blocks and getting ready for a start now as well. As you can see them digging out that sand and getting that set up. Courtney, before we run through that start list, how important is that to make sure that you're set in position and ready to go?
Yeah, we saw a lot of the athletes throughout the week. They're just setting up their little blocks. So most of them crouched down like we saw the athletic runners in the Olympics. And that seems to be the quickest. And they go up nice and low before they really get into their full stride and full posture. So we saw a couple of competitors do the normal stance like we see mainly in the ocean, but most of the competitors were doing the blocks and taking a bit of time to really make sure it's nice and firm. So it's like a little push-off, because when they do, a lot of these athletes do track running, they actually have their spikes, their set-up blocks. So I guess they're trying to find, on the sand, create those blocks as much as they're used to at training.
So we just saw our start list for this second quarterfinal. In lane number 1, it is Maroochydore, 2 is Cara with 3, Swansea Belmont 4, Nida on Warstart from Germany. 4 was North Burleigh and Morty Alec as well from Australia too. So an Australian presence in this second quarterfinal as they are just waiting for that final call into the starters blocks. These are very nervous moments. Look, not quite as nervous as a final, but it's all about just getting through these rounds at this stage as they're now waiting for a start. And a sharp start from all of our competitors as well, but it looked like Swansea Belmont got the best of it, and now she has started to extend that lead to North Burleigh, giving good chase. Then we go back to Karawa, Maroochydore, and also Morty Alec too with our team from Germany, currently in 6th place. Clean changes across the board, Courtney. That's exactly what you need.
Clean changes makes it very easy for the rest of your competitors coming through, teammates, should I say. We see Swansea Belmont, they're also very well known for the water competition as well. Maroochydore not too far behind, but very good on the sand too. So you see North Burleigh, we see a lot of the Gold Coast actually teams, and we see Kurrawa, the local club, as well, not too far away it could be. So there we go, another great changeover, and Swansea Belmont, they certainly sent off a very, very quick runner to anchor their team.
So it's Swansea Belmont in 1. Maroochydore is currently in 2. We will pick up the rest of the field as they do come across the line, because the top 4 is going through to the semis. Next to come home will be Kurrawa, and then North Burleigh make our top 4. Morty Alec just missing out, as well as Nida on Warstart from Germany too. So 4 teams going through. Swansea Belmont, a proud club from Newcastle with a proud beach history as well. That was very impressive.
Yeah, they really did that well. And the girls look like they're not puffing. They definitely weren't at their top end speed. As we just look at the replay, Swansea Belmont in the middle there, look at her just stretching out and really wanting to set up her team very, very well. So they are fantastic, and we certainly, I'm sure, will see them in the final. And North Burleigh chasing them obviously there at the moment, but I definitely don't think we saw them at their full speed.
It was clean changes. It was safe changes as well. Swansea Belmont opted to take the baton what looked to be about a metre before that line as well. North Burleigh was really close on that last replay that we did see, but it was Swansea Belmont well out in front ahead of Maroochydore as well, who fought back very strongly in those second 2 legs too. Kurrawa in 3, North Burleigh in 4. It was Morty Alec in 5 and Nida on Warstart from Germany in 6, with our top 4 going through to the semi-finals that no doubt won't be too far away as well. So we can see some of those competitors starting to get ready for that next round. This was our results as we spoke about. Courtney, what are you trying to do in between these races? Because beach relays, they bring on the lactic acid and the fatigue, but you've got to make sure you're ready for your next run.
The beach competitors have had it really, really tough from what I've seen in the youth so far. It's back to back with the running, back to back with the flags as well. So it's flushing out the lactic acid, as you said before, and it's really relaxing your legs. Some of them get a little bit of a quick massage on their calves. Also a little bit of a rundown as well. Ice baths tonight are always a good thing, but also nutrition and hydration as well. It's really, even though it is windy, it's hot out there. And remember, they don't just want to feel good today. It's tomorrow, it's the day after that. So they really, really want to make sure they're looking after themselves towards the end of the week as well, because a lot of them are going to be doing the opens. So at the moment, getting out of the sun, hydrating, having little nibbles, snacks, little things like that is all really important.
For sure. We have quarterfinal number 3 now standing by for a start. In lane number 1, Norderstedt from Germany. 2 is Wanda from Sydney in Australia. 3 is Naval Sortege Sportif Club from Canada. In lane 4, the Indian Lifesaving and Sports Federation. In lane 5, from the UAE, Viking Surf Sports. And North Cronulla in lane 6 as well. So plenty of pace spread across this field. The top 4 will go through, and as we have seen already today, these baton changes are even more important than ever in this wind, which says a lot because it is always such a crucial part of this event.
Yes, it definitely is. And I felt like you were right with what you said before. A lot of them are taking it very safe. They're actually doing the changeover a fair way away from the line and just wanting to be safe, just want to make sure they get through this first quarterfinal. As you just heard the official there, he said, take your mark. So in this quarterfinal, they're all crouching down on this one. So guns up, and they are off and away, and it looks like Wanda's out nicely.
Wanda making a very sharp start. So too North Cronulla, but it looks as though we had a competitor hit the deck as well. That's tough to see. A little stumble in the sand. That was a runner from Viking Surf Sports. But at the moment, it is Wanda and North Cronulla out in front. Norderstedt from Germany is on the outside there in 4. The Indian Lifesaving Federation in 3rd, but closing that gap as well. So there are plenty of moving parts in this race as well. A clean change from North Cronulla, again opting to try and take it safe. Wanda is in 2, the Indian Lifesaving Federation in 3 at this point. It's going to be a battle for 4th too, Courtney.
Yeah, definitely. They all know how many's making it, so they all really want to get in that top 4 position. North Cronulla and Wanda, you would think there'd be a little bit of rivalry only just down the beach there in Sydney, so both very good competitors. I'd love to see India out in front. They've travelled a long, long way to be here, and they've been racing fantastic, not only in the beach but the water as well, and North Cronulla doing it nice and easily.
Top 4 to go through. North Cronulla in 1, Wanda in 2, the Indian Federation in 3, and it was very close to the finish there. It could have been Norderstedt from Germany in 4. We will wait to see those official results before we do declare them, the top 4 to go through. But there was no doubting our winners. North Cronulla very impressive out in front. And Courtney, look at the sand that's currently being whipped up in the background of that shot. You can see our runners trying to cover their eyes and stay away from it. It is as tough as beach sprint conditions get out there.
Yeah, as we heard from Christy Munro before, she was saying just we just saw that stumble, unfortunately, from the Vikings club there. So she would be a little bit disappointed, but there's not much you can do as we see the replay again. Just a little bit of a trip, and once you get a trip, you kind of land down. But she recovered very, very well. She shook it off and kept going. So a great effort there. But you can see the girls now running straight into the wind, and it is picking up throughout the day. And see those little wind tunnels happening. The hair's blowing out and about, but the sand in your eyes is one thing. And unfortunately on screen we can't show you just how windy it is, but I can tell you that the wind with the beach competitors makes it very, very challenging.
Yeah, that's right. So at this point, it's all about progressing through the rounds, and that is what those two teams on screen did a very good job of. That is North Cronulla and Wanda, both from the Bay, like you mentioned, Courtney, only separated by a distance of, well, it'd be less than 1 kilometre. And the wind is certainly really whipping things up here on the Gold Coast. That is the perfect example of it with these flags. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few of those go flying. Hope everyone down on the beach tied down their tents nice and tightly too, Courtney. What do you reckon?
And if you haven't and you're watching this, this is your sign to go and do that now. Also, make sure your umbrellas, maybe pop them down, put a big hat on, get in the shade because the umbrella might go flying as well. So certainly time to knuckle everything down. And as we look, we just got our fourth quarterfinal of the women's coming up not too far away. So Alexandra Headlands, would see them so far. They've been very, very strong throughout the whole morning. As we move into Burleigh Heads, not too far down the road. They actually look like they've actually potentially got a few water competitors as well in their team. So we look forward to seeing them. And we've also got a couple of overseas competitors as well, from not only that, from Germany, Canada. We've also got Noosa Heads Club as well. So they've come from the sunny coast. So we look forward to seeing our fourth quarterfinal, and they all know they need to be on if they want to make that final.
And it's great to see the cat from Haaswinkel in Germany as well. It looks like a little ladybird too, doesn't it? It is one of the more colourful cats that we do see in international lifesaving, and great to see them represented. Such a strong contingent from Germany down here, particularly in these beach events. It's what the World Championships are all about.
Yeah, and I know that the Germans, they absolutely love it. I remember going to that World Titles in Germany, and it was fantastic. They put on a brilliant show, and as we think forward to moving into the future, we look at Morocco 2 years away, 2 years away, should I say, from now. I think they'll certainly, all the Europeans will be very excited. Morocco, I was looking on the maps the other day, not too far away from France, actually, just below if you look on the world map, and it's that'll be a fantastic moment. I think they'll all come over here and feel very inspired by the way that Queensland Surf Life Saving and also Kurrawa Surf Life Saving Club have put on this show.
So this is our start list for the fourth quarterfinal of the Interclub Youth Women's Beach Relay. In lane 1 is Alexandra Headland, 2 is Burleigh Heads Mowbray Park, 3 is Club d'Entraînement in Sauvage Sportif from Canada, 4 is Haaswinkel from Germany, 5 is Noosa Heads from just up the road, and in lane 6 it is Bietigheim Bissingen from Germany as well. So again, a very strong German presence in this quarterfinal. The top 4 teams will go through to our semis, which aren't too far away. But job number 1, and that is progressing. Easier said than done.
Yeah, no time to think about the finals at the moment. It's about progressing through. As we see, the girls are off for a start. We see Alexandra Headland just closest on screen, and speaking of Alexandra Headlands, they are out nice and strong as well. We've got Burleigh Headlands in second place at the moment. Also got Noosa Heads not too far away. So first changeover, Alexandra Headlands did that nice and clean.
And everyone changing cleanly right across the race. And now you can start to see the pace being put down from Noosa as well, surging back up into second place. But it is Alexandra Headland out in 1. Noosa will change in 2. It is very tight between 3 and 4. The top 4 teams will go through. That is what it's all about at this stage of the race. And it looks as though Noosa is now pulling up alongside and out in front of Alexandra Headland heading into this final change.
Yeah, Noosa Headlands, they're really the back end of their team of very, very quick, and I think they put their speed more so at the back there. So they're going to charge through, and they're going to make it through that semi-finals very nice and easily. Alexandra Headlands still sitting in second there, and Burleigh Headlands, well done. I saw they've got a lot of their water competitors. Actually, I saw Jasmine Raywood, Bianca Raywood, Charlotte Hart and Chelsea Wood, all 4 girls actually go into the water as well and do very, very strong. So well done to Burleigh Headlands getting third and making it through the beach event.
And Club d'Entraînement from Canada in 4th place as well, booking their spot in the semi-finals of this women's beach relay here at the Interclub Championships on the Gold Coast as well. So that was, I tell you what, it was great racing. It was tight racing, and we've seen a lot of pace in the early rounds here, especially from Alexandra Headland in this opening leg.
Yeah, I think all the athletes, they really knew what was up for grabs, and you just never know what can happen. You might have a drop baton, you could have a trip over in the sand, so they just really want to set their next team member up in every single run they do, and they did it to perfection. They really came through at the end there. On screen there, we just saw a moment ago, Alexandra Headland's changeover, they actually go out quite wide when they hand it to their next competitor, and I think that's a way of just really showing that baton away from their body to make it really nice and easy for the next competitor to get. So I really love seeing the different techniques, and there's a lot of different fantastic beach coaches all across internationally, across Australia. So all a little bit just trying to get better and faster and again, cleaner and also safer.
It's a subtle move, but it's an effective move, isn't it? To get it away from the body, get it away from the colours of the rash shirts and the club caps, because it can be very hard to pick up in, especially when there's moving parts, there's arms and legs pumping as well. So, look, all of our teams doing really well right across the board in the 4 quarterfinals of the Interclub Youth Female Beach Relay. Those semi-finals coming up a little bit later, but we are about to switch into the men's heats as well. So, the female heats are done. Now it's the men's turns. A few high fives getting put down as we can see the first heat being brought to the line too. Courtney, no doubt, a very valuable chance to be able to watch some of those races too, as they are the official results. Noosa in 1, Alexandra Headland 2, Burleigh Heads Moray Park 3, Club d'Entraînement from Canada all going through to that next round. You can imagine it's been pretty important for these men's teams to watch and see what the conditions are doing down there on the beach too.
Absolutely, and from their female competitors from their surf club, they'll certainly be giving them some tips and tricks out there of what to do, what not to do, just how strong that wind is as well. And as we can see in the background there, just the flags, how aggressively they are waving back and forth, especially on the ocean line there. So it's they'll certainly be giving them some advice. And while the men's are out there getting ready to go, the girls will be, as you see a few of them on the right-hand side there, just having a little walk, just shaking those legs. Some of them might even go for a little swim, a little jog, just to get rid of that lactic acid so they can be ready for that semi-final, because we know when we get to the semi-final, that level of speed is going to go up again. And again, just trying to make that top 8, it's very, very tricky to get towards that final, because 8 in the world is not many, is it?
No, that's exactly right, particularly when you consider just how competitive all of these races have been as well. So, it does look as though we have 4 quarterfinals in the Youth Interclub Men as well. In lane 1, Currumbin 2, Nita on Warstart 3, Bietigheim Bissingen from Germany, Luckenwald from Germany, Alexandra Headland, and Morty Alex Surf Lifesaving Club. And that is who is out in front in this early stage. A flying start from Morty Alec.
Oh, Morty Alec just went for it. I love that he had the hair out, flowing about. Fantastic. It might have made him go on a little bit faster, but they really want to set themselves up. And he just had a fall.
That was our team from Luckenwald in Germany who hit the deck. He was doing such a great job to come back up to the field, and unfortunately he has gone down as well. We have seen a few troubles in that lane actually so far today. Perhaps it could be a little bit bumpy. The wind's certainly not helping either. Out in front it is Morty Alec, and they have got things all their own way. This has been a really, really impressive performance for Court. It's going to be tight to see who finishes in the top 4 as well. 4 to go through.
There is only 4 going through. See Currumbin coming through. Alexander, and it's going to be very tight towards the end there. So we'll have to wait for those official results. But you're definitely right. With that lane, it was exactly the same lane as we saw one of the other girls just in a couple of heats ago. I wonder if that little section of that lane it dips down a bit. We spoke about that sand is obviously, it's never ever going to be fully across straight, should I say. Hard to explain. It's not going to be like a road. It's always going to be uneven, as we just see the start there again. We might see that fall over in a second, but Morty Alec were on fire right from the gun. Yeah,
they absolutely flew Morty Alec, and what I also liked about it too, it was nice even running, nice clean changes right across the board. There was that stumble in lane 4. I'll tell you what, it's going to be quite close to see where things did finish up as well. Yeah, just that little divot in the surface, but I think Bietigheim Bissingen, they might have actually come back into calculations. I don't know whether they actually got there in the end for that top 4 finish, but it was certainly tight. We're leaving this one up to the officials at the moment. We can start to see those results coming in. It is Morty Alec in 1. Currumbin Beach did finish 2nd, as we're about to see them pop up on screen as well. Morty Alec with everything their own way in that race. Alexandra Headland was 3. It's Luckenwald from Germany who did finish in 4th place. Nida on Warstadt from Germany in 5th. And Bietigheim Bissingen in 6th place, also from Germany. So a very strong German influence in that race. Those top 4 clubs all going through to the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that Germany, they had 3 of their clubs from their country. That's just absolutely fantastic. Well done, guys, for coming over here and bringing such a strong team to go through into that beach event. So I love the way Morty Alec went about that then. You have a lot of teams that may kind of put on the brakes a little bit, know that they're in, but I like that they've really sent a message to the rest of the youth competitors out there and said, we're not here to make up the numbers. We're here to win.
No.
If we can win the quarter, semi, and take it to the final, I like it. I think it's some really good energy out there.
And that is the kind of energy that the teams will be hoping to channel in quarterfinal number 2 as well. Lane 1 is Maroochydore, 2 is Norderstedt from Germany, 3 is Drayton Valley from Canada, 4 Noosa Heads from Australia, 5 is Haaswinkel from Germany, and 6 is Clifton from South Africa. We saw Clifton's team in the female beach relay have plenty of pace. I think we're going to see pace right across the board as well. And I love these draws too that have clubs from all corners of the globe as well. It's truly a World Championship quarterfinal, this one.
Yeah, it certainly is. You really got to take a moment to take all that in. That from all ages to see, that's one of my favourite. I think Ty Dowker, he asked me what my favourite cap was. That is definitely my favourite cap. The Ladybug, you cannot beat that one, can you? And yeah, to take a moment and just think, learning all these different places from all these different countries. It's, there's some surf clubs that we wouldn't even know that you could have a surf club in certain times. But as we take a moment, we're going to look back on screen because we have the start of that second men's quarterfinal.
And it is Clifton out in front and flying. They are well ahead of Noosa in second, and then the rest of the field is incredibly tight as well. So a blistering start from Clifton. The South Africans also putting in a clean change, which is so important. Noosa now starting to come back into calculations too. Maroochydore is in 3, and there is a battle on for that 4th place and a spot in the semi-finals. You can see how important these changes are on that camera angle for Clifton. It's no issue at the moment, but Noosa's going with them, Courtney.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're not letting them have this one all their own, but if anyone's ever been to Clifton Beach in Tasmania, it's absolutely beautiful as he just has a little look over his shoulder, just trying to see how far he wants to take this through for his team, but he also wants to just put on the brakes a little bit. But yes, that certainly came down. And it looks like it was, a little bit of rivalry going there between. They were kind of looking at each other. We've just had another fall as well. One of the German clubs has gone down. So we might have to, at some stage, the officials might have to give it a little bit of a brush up. But also at the same time, the wind is very tough and can actually put you from side to side. So the wind, unfortunately, having a little bit to do there.
This is the beauty of beach sprinting. It isn't like a running track where it's completely smooth, though, that you do have to be aware of your surrounds as well, and the sand can get blown around exactly like you said. Clifton, the South Africans were so strong from that opening start. Bit of rivalry, as you mentioned, between South Africa and Australia in this heat. Clifton getting the best of it here, but Noosa showing that they're going to be really competitive throughout these rounds here today.
Yeah, absolutely. They look fantastic, didn't they? And it's everyone's been doing so well with the baton changes. I've only seen a couple of drop battens, and the teams that have actually dropped the battens, they've actually really cleanly picked it up and kind of only lost a metre or two. So there we just have that wind just again taking it through.
And lane 5, Haaswinkel almost went down at the exact same point as well. So you do wonder perhaps whether there has been some kind of maybe difference in density in the sand, if there isn't a clear divot. It's very easily done, whether, a bit of water gets put on the track a few days earlier. All of that can have a really big impact. And I guess it just goes to show why it's so important to make sure that you are really, you don't want to run with your head down, but you're looking at each step to make sure that you don't get caught out by a little pothole that could be there. Absolutely.
You really need to make your body nice and compact up on those toes and really keep everything nice and relaxed, but nice and compact. So it's we've seen a couple of falls, and hopefully we won't see too many. Hopefully the teams behind are kind of considering that and taking that in and going from there.
So we don't have official results yet as well, and we could see a bit of discussion from some of our officials too. So we do want to make sure that they are just getting those results right too throughout these early rounds. So it is being reviewed at the moment. And now we do look as though we are about to get those results in as well. So we will bring you those as soon as we have them.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. I just have to apologise, everyone. Clifton, I was going on about Clifton Beach, which is in Tasmania. This is Clifton from South Africa. So Clifton, everyone there, I have to apologise. I got excited and got the moment. So, but I definitely, hopefully, I want to go to actually South Africa.
Do you know what? I was just about to say, I've been to both very beautiful beaches.
Beautiful, amazing.
Both very beautiful beaches, so I'm sure they wouldn't mind the ultimate compliment that you gave them there as well. Look, we are still waiting for these results to come in now. They are starting to filter in, of course. There was no doubting our two teams out in front. Clifton from South Africa finishing in first. Noosa Heads given second. Maroochydore was in third, and Norderstedt, the German club, getting the nod over their rivals Haaswinkel. I say rivals, but they're friendly rivals. Their fellow German club there, finishing in 5th place as well. So that is quarterfinal number 2. We are starting to get ready for quarterfinal number 3. At some point, we'll check back in with Christy down on the sand as well, because I feel like these conditions have been changing more and more throughout the morning. And if we're seeing that just on screen on the beach, then no doubt the ocean is certainly going to be the same as well. But they are our official results halfway through these rounds, Courtney, and plenty of pace across these men's teams.
Yeah, there certainly is. And you can just see, I've really been loving the competition out there. You see all the athletes looking at each other, and as well, I haven't seen too much that when they're out there actually running, kind of looking over their shoulder. And I think that's fantastic. They're just checking out the competition. So we're getting through all these quarterfinals, getting closer and closer to the big dance.
And to get there, we do have to go through the third quarterfinal. In lane number 1 is the Indian Lifesaving and Lifesaving Sports Federation. 2 is Langenberg from Germany. 3 is South Maroubra from Sydney in Australia. In lane number 4, we had BMD Northcliffe. And in 5 is Gillivars, also from Great Britain. It's great to see the Brits running here today and represented so far in the beach events for the very first time here today, Courtney.
Oh, incredible. It's, wow, just amazing. I can't wait to go home, actually, and Google all these beaches. As you said, we spoke about Clifton being a beautiful place. It sounds amazing. So I'm really looking forward to having a look at all these beaches. And we just saw a little bit of a smile from a couple of the guys there, and just getting themselves all pumped up, getting themselves ready. A few high fives, slapping the chest, taking it all in. Every athlete out there, beach, ocean, pool as well. We've obviously had the pool event happening as well. Different way to warm up. Some people like to have a big breath, relax. Others you see jumping around there up and down, getting themselves really pumped. So every athlete's different.
What kind of athlete were you, Courtney?
I was definitely pumped up.
Yeah?
Music, pretty hectic music on. And I think it depends what type of person you are. I think I was pretty relaxed and calm when I woke up. So I think I really needed to pump myself up and get going. What about yourself, Sam?
I think I was the opposite.
Okay, yeah.
I think I know that I'm feeling good when I'm laughing and making jokes on the start line. Maybe that's because I've felt too nervous from the time that I've woken up as well. So just getting a final instruction brief here from the starters. There is a bit of discussion that is going on at this point. We're not quite sure what that is about. It does look as though, there might have been a change in the lanes there. I was actually looking at the start list thinking, hold on a second, that doesn't quite match up the clubs that we do have. So there is plenty to see and do here at Kurrawa Beach. Gee, good boys like that on screen as well. Plenty of people coming past and checking out all of the action here at Kurrawa Beach for the 2024 Lifesaving World Championships. That is Langenberg from Germany, Germany rather, yes, correct, on screen at this point. It does look as though we do have a little bit of changing going on in the lane, so we will just wait for confirmation on that before we run through the list for one final time too. In fact, you know what I think it might have been? It could have been a team from our 4th quarterfinal stepping up, coming up one early, and the officials have said no, not just yet.
Not just yet.
Not just yet.
Wait your turn. I thought it might have been everyone was protesting they didn't want to go in that lane. But it's been happening. They might think it's a bit unlucky.
Well, look, that remains to be seen. We're going to check in with Christy after this race as well and to see exactly what it is like down there on the sands. So plenty to chat about so far here today. Again, a quick reminder for those who are just tuning in, our beach events have been postponed for the day. They've been put on for tomorrow. Instead, it is all about the beach. And right now, it's all about quarterfinal number 3 of the men's beach relay team. Ready for a start. And they are away to South Maroubra, getting a really clean start. And now they're starting to extend that lead out in front. But this is probably the closest race we've seen so far, Courtney.
This has definitely been the closest race for sure. We've seen 1 or 2 athletes. Oh no, we've just actually had a baton drop. Could be that the club from India in that closest lane to the ocean, but out in front, we are really looking at Germany.
South Maroubra at this stage, who do have the lead at this point, they ran that baton 3 metres past the line to make sure they did it clean. Heartbreak for the Indian Lifesaving Federation. They were doing so well too. But at this stage, it is all about having those clean baton changes. South Maroubra making no mistake, and they are really sending a message in this third quarterfinal. It does look as though Northcliffe has ran themselves into second. We are about to see them come across the line. Yes, they do. And then it looks as though Langenberg is going to be coming across for 3. We will wait to see. I do believe it was Gillingvast from Great Britain in 4. The Indian Lifesaving Federation finishing in 5th place there. It's a sport of such a tight margin for error. There's no room for little slip-ups, and unfortunately, that is what cost our friends from the Indian Lifesaving Federation.
Yeah, it's just those little moments, as we just see on screen there. Just as you mentioned, Sam, that was very close for that first. We've actually seen a little bit more of a breakout in the last couple of quarterfinals. But South Maroubra, the changeovers, they did them safe, clean. I really thought they did the right thing. You don't want to have a slip up and miss that opportunity of making the final, because they certainly look like one of the top teams going into this semi-final.
Courtney, you spoke about the one-handed baton change before we saw these heats get underway. We haven't actually seen it until just then. The Indian Lifesaving Federation going for that one-handed baton change, and I guess that is the risk of it. It's a faster baton change, but it does come with a little bit more risk for a slip-up or a stumble there too.
Yes, I wonder with the baton hand change, I mean, this might make it a little bit complicated where they do the double for the quarters and the semis and get to that final and then go the one-handed, knowing it's a little bit quicker. But it's every team, they've got to make it work for themselves, don't they? No,
that's exactly right. So another very hard-fought heat here, another hard-fought quarterfinal. Just to confirm those official results that we do have now coming in. In first place was South Maroubra, second was BMD Northcliffe, third was Langenberg from Germany, and 4 is Gillingvast from Great Britain. The Indian Lifesaving Federation finishing in 5th place there. So 3 quarterfinals down, 1 to go. And then we're going to be getting straight into these semis too. There is a bit of a gap, Courtney. That gap's getting shorter and shorter between each race. Quickly to look at the start list here. Pirates from South Africa is in 1. Narvel from Canada is in 2. Metropolitan Caloundra from the Sunshine Coast in Australia is in 3. Retford and District in 4. And Coogin Headland from the northern New South Wales coast is in lane 5. So it's going to get more intense, the racing. It's going to get harder. It's going to get harder fought, and those rests are going to get shorter as well. So things are about to start getting dialed up that little bit more. And for those teams that did run in the opening heats, a much longer rest too.
Yes, I was just thinking exactly the same thing, Sam. That's a great point to make. If you're in the first heat, you've gone off, you started your recovery. But for these athletes on screen right now, they are the 4th quarterfinal. So if they get through that semi and then become the first semi-final, it's all, on live heats, doing amazing job live heats, but it's all mixed. So it's all going to be really fair. And unfortunately, if you just get that, you just have to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what. Recovery has to be perfect. Hydration, nutrition, everything's got to be really timed and ready. And that's why we have coaches. That's why we have the management staff. That's why we have that great team around you for these athletes to make sure they're on top of everything.
That's right. So confirmation too about that little confusion before. Retford and District were the club that was standing in line for final number 3. We're about to see them underway now. And they are away and racing. Coogin Headland with a flying start over Metropolitan Caloundra, who now has surged to the front. Retford and District in 3 and Pirates in 4 at this point, all ahead of Narvel Sortege Sportif as well. But Courtney, this is a tight quarter-final.
Again, this is very tight as well. We've got Met Caloundra not wanting to give it up, but also Kingscliff just over the border, New South Wales there, looking very strong as well. And I'm just trying to look at those changeovers, and they're too fast for my eyes to kind of keep up with. But Coogin Headland out in front and looking the goods.
That's right, and looking very strong alongside Metropolitan Caloundra. You can see that they're going to start to slow up that little bit. They ran well over the line, and that is why it's important to get them right. Look, Coogin Headland, a look over the shoulder from Met Caloundra. Coogin Headland, no doubt the adrenaline would have spiked there, but they're still going to come through for second place in this heat. And a nice jog across the line for Met Caloundra in 4.
Yeah.
Pirates might have got the nod there for second, and it does look like Narvel Sortage is going to finish in 4th, and they've booked themselves a spot in the semi-final.
Yeah, Coogin Headlands, you're right. I think they did get a little bit of a fright there. I was just watching on the replay. We had Met Caloundra and Coogin Headland. They really started that out from the start and set their team up very well, but not bad to have a little bit of a fright. I think obviously still getting through, just to kind of go, okay, all right, we really, really need to focus, concentrate, and baton changing is very, very difficult, especially when your team member is coming at full speed. And there we had that replay on screen.
And you could just see the baton out to the side of the body was moving a little bit with that running stride, and that is what caused it to veer at that very last second. But thankfully for Coogin Headland, it isn't going to cost them. They are still going to be going through to the second round. Gee, you'd love a run like that for Met Calandra's last runner. Getting to jog, look over his shoulder, see exactly where they were at. Pirates flying into the line too before the Canadian club rounded out that top four to go through as well. So that is the final quarter-final of the youth men's beach relay. We are waiting for the semi-finals of the female beach relay as well, and so is Christy Munro, who is down on the beach. Christy, we've seen throughout these opening rounds that there's been a couple of stumbles, there's been a few baton changes that haven't quite gone to plan. How much is the wind playing a role in that?
Yeah, I think it's hugely down to the wind. Looking at the track, it is really flat. It's pretty smooth. The wind's actually playing a role in smoothing out the sand down here. You can see the officials are mostly using the lanes that are closest to the water. So the top end lanes haven't been run on for a while. So it'll be interesting to see how much softer they are come the semi-finals. But I think what might be contributing to those stumbles really is just the softness of the sand. You can see our competitors really sinking down in with every single stride that they take. So that might be a little bit different compared to what some of our runners are used to.
Yeah, Christy, it's a really good point that you raised there as well, because for the first time on the beach track this morning, we are about to see lanes 7 and 8 used. And I guess, you know, for some people watching, it might be easier to associate a smooth lane with an easier run, but the sand is quite soft, isn't it?
A little bit down to that harder, maybe a little bit slightly wetter sand, whereas as you mentioned, 7 and 8 look like absolute powder. So definitely smooth, but they're going to have a very, very soft track ahead of them.
Thank you so much, Christy. It's so good to have your insight, being right there with all the action. Have you seen any, I guess, is anyone looking your favourite team right now in the men's and the women's? Is there any team that you really feels stands out and looks really confident?
Oh, it's hard to pick a front runner at the moment. I think we've had probably quite spread out quarterfinals, so we haven't seen any really tightly contested finishes in those semis. So now that they're congested down into into semis, I think we'll be looking at these to see who our front runners are for the finals.
Thank you, Christy. We're not too far away from the start of this opening semi-final as well. In lane number 1 is Norderstedt, 2 is the Indian Lifesaving Federation, 3 Wanda, 4 Maroochydore, 5 is Clifton, Swansea Belmont, Kurrawa, and Club d'Entraînement as well. And it does look as though it's Swansea Belmont who has the best of it ahead of this stage. Clifton and Wanda right there as well. These are 3 of the most impressive teams that we saw in those opening heats. There is not much splitting them at the moment. And
you see the pace has just absolutely lifted since those quarterfinals. These girls know there's only 4 going through, and as we can just see in the middle, Maroochydore just making a very quick move across the sand to put her teammate in second.
A big surge from Maroochydore, but at this stage it's Swansea Belmont 1, Wanda is 2, Maroochydore is 3, and then it is very tight for 4. The Indian Lifesaving Federation has come right back up as well. Clifton with a bit of work to do in this last leg after that really strong start, but Swansea Belmont sending a message in this first semi-final. That is a dominant run. They will win the opening semi out of Maroochydore in 2. It is Wanda in 3. And a very tight finish for 4 between Clifton and the Indian Federation. It did look as though the Indian Federation got the nod, but what a job from Clifton's last runner to close that gap. The South Africans very, very fast. Swansea Belmont, that was impressive.
Oh, and I asked that question to Christy before, but I think I know at the moment who's standing out for us at the moment. And here we go, off for a start. Swansea Belmont have just been so strong in that quarterfinal, and now the semi-final. I think it looks like they've got more to give as well, which is quite scary for the other girls. But you've got Clifton in there, Maroochydore with that very strong second runner coming through, and Wanda hanging on there for third.
Swansea Belmont's changes nice and clean, and there was plenty of moving parts in this last leg too. You'll see in a moment Clifton starting to come from the clouds there, really powering home. And although they got so close, it does look like on our vision that it was the Indian Federation who did get home for 4th place. Those results now starting to filter through, and that is correct. So Swansea Belmont, Maroochydore, Wanda, and the Indian Lifesaving Federation all going through to the final, and that is semi-final number 1. Just like that, we are about to get semi-final number 2 on the line as well. Courtney, they're sharp racing now. The stakes are starting to rise.
They all know what is on offer here. This is to make the final for the World Championship. So nerves are absolutely at their high at the moment. They all want to get through clean changeovers. No tripping over, though we've obviously seen that happen a few times. So Sam, we'll move on to that next. The results, should I say?
Yeah, these are the official results of that semi. Swansea 1, Maroochydore 2, Wanda 3, the Indian Lifesaving Federation in 4, Clifton in 5, Kurrawa in 6, Club d'Entraînement in 7 from Canada as well. And in 8th place was Norderstedt from Germany. So that is semi-final number 1. 4 to go through to this decider. And heat number 2, semi-final number 2 is standing by. They would have been watching that with interest as well. In lane number 1, it's North Burleigh. 2 is North Cronulla. 3 is Burleigh Heads Mowbray Park. 4 is BMD Northcliffe. 5 is Currumbin. 6 is Noosa Heads. 7 is Alexandra Headland. And 8 is Sunshine Beach. So an all-Australian semi-final here. In semi-final number 2 of the Interclub Youth Female Beach Relay, a spot in the final is on the line.
It is, and just looking through those teams and the names of the competitors, this looks like a really tough semi-final. Obviously all semis are hard from here out, but this one exceptionally is going to be very difficult to get to that top 4.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and you can see the care being given to just looking at what the track has got in store from Noosa walking right out on there as well. Interesting to note how the teams just went in lanes 7 and 8. We hadn't seen those lanes ran on today, and we are going to see them have another run again. So smoother than the other lanes, but as Christy really pointed out before, that sand is less compact and that bit more difficult to run on. So Alex just squeezing in a practice start before she gets underway in one of those 2 lanes that is new.
I wonder how the competitors go with those new lanes. Do they like being on those more so than the lanes that have been run? It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Now we are in the starters' hands in semi-final number 2. 4 to go through for a spot in the World Championship Interclub Youth Final. And it was an even start as well. Perhaps the clubs on the bottom of the screen getting the best of it. Now as they start to stride out, it is Northcliffe in 1. The under-17 Australian Beach Relay champions in front at this point, but it's really tight racing, clean baton changes. So important at the moment, Courtney.
It's all looking very close at the moment. All the girls making their way through. We're seeing a couple of the clubs actually making some big moves at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. So it's North Cronulla who has hit the front. A nice safe baton change there. Northcliffe has dropped their baton. Northcliffe just dropped their baton. They were out in front on that opening leg, and that could be a big moment in this race. North Cronulla doing things comfortably at this point. Noosa Heads is in 2nd place. We had Burleigh Heads Mowbray Park and Maroochydore, it did look like, Sunshine Beach rather, were there too. But look, these are our 2 leaders on screen at the moment. It's going to be a very tight finish for the final spots into the final. North Cronulla and Noosa are through. It does look like Burleigh Heads Mowbray Park and then North Burleigh getting the nod as well. Northcliffe, that is heartbreak after that baton change. But as we've spoken about throughout the day, it's so important to make sure you get them right.
Oh, it really is. That would have been devastating for the Northcliffe girls. And they had to make sure they also went across the line as well. So we'll see a replay. But here's a replay for the start. So Northcliffe really set themselves up really well. And we had North Cronulla, also North Burleigh as well. All Alexandra Headland as well over the other side.
Yeah, that's right. It was an even start too. Northcliffe making the best of it on that opening leg. But then North Cronulla started to hit the front. We've spoken about Swansea Belmont being a proud beach club. Well, North Cronulla is one of the most dominant in the country. And you can just see at the bottom of the screen there, that is where things just did not go to plan for BMD Northcliffe. I'm not sure if their runner got back across the line, but regardless, it was top 4 going through to the A final. The second 4 will race a B final as well. But that is beach sprinting, isn't it, Courtney? There is really no room for error, and the little things can really have a big outcome, big influence on the outcome.
Yeah, it's got to be mistake-free, especially we're now at the semi-finals of the World Championship. So, world titles, best in the world, you've got to be mistake-free, especially getting to the semi-finals to make those finals. So we'll wrap it up in a second for the women's semi-finals. We'll grab those official results for you all in a moment, but we will have the top 8 best teams in Australia.
That's exactly.
Oh, in Australia. In the world. What am I talking about? In the world. We're in Australia, but this is the world.
In the world, and we do have an international influence in there as well. Look, we are going to have a bit of a delay while we wait for those official results. We might use this chance to go back down to Christy Munro, who is standing by on the beach. Christy, you spoke of the importance of those little things, getting them right in this wind, and gee, it was really laid bare just then.
To look forward to some very, very strong runners from those 2 semi-finals. Can see some really excited faces from some of the teams who perhaps didn't expect just to scrape through. So, I'm very excited to see this final as we see the teams will make their way back down to that marshalling area and reset and, I guess, really, really refocus now that the big race is about to begin.
Christy, it looked as though a couple of the teams were sprinting down the side to have a chat with coaches, it might be, or parents and friends. It's going to be really interesting to see how they spend these next 10 to 15 minutes before the World Championship final, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had a packed program this morning. Some of these runners have done the 2K run as well, so backing up for those quarters, semis, and now the finals. But the energy is still really high. These youth athletes, they don't seem that they're very taxed, so they will be trying to conserve, maybe sit down, get off those legs before the final. But the energy is a buzz, so I think the excitement of just making it through to the final will carry them through.
Absolutely, Christy. We cannot wait to see that race get underway in just a little wait now, Courtney. But for now, it is back to the men's beach relay semi-finals. Confirmation of those official results in the semi just then. It was in 1, North Cronulla, 2 was Noosa Heads, 3 was Burleigh Heads Mowbray Park, and 4th was Currumbin Beach. 5th was Alexandra Headland, 6th was BMD Northcliffe. There was no disqualification there. 7th was Sunshine Beach. And it does look as though North Burleigh have been disqualified from that last semi-final, though. So that is what the judges were talking about. That saw Currumbin finishing 4th, and now they're into the finals. So a big story there out of the second women's semi. But for now, we go back to the youth men's teams. In semi-final number 1, we do have in lane 1, Maroochydore, 2, Currumbin Beach, 3 is Coogin Headland, 4 is Langenberg, 5 is Mordialloc, 6 is Gillingvass, and 7 is Nordestad. Lane number 8 is Clifton from South Africa. A lot of our heavy hitters from the quarterfinals are in action right now, Courtney.
This one's a hot semi, isn't it? And remember, we actually do also have a B final as well. So from 5th to 8th will be in that B final. But here we are. The men are racing out, and they are all trying to make that top 4 to get in the A final.
4 wide for that first 50 metres across the course. That was an incredible start. Clifton will get the best of the change at the moment, and Mordialloc is hot on their heels too. Look at Clifton, the South Africans striding out in front. Mordialloc going with them. Coogin Headland is in 3rd spot, and it is very tight for 4th as well. The top 4 to go through to that A final, but there is no stopping Clifton at the moment. What a performance we're seeing from the South Africans. This is dominant ahead of Mordialloc, and it looked as though North Burleigh was starting to surge back into the proceedings as well. We'll try and pick up that cap in just a moment for you, but it is Clifton in 1, Mordialloc is in 2. As they come across the line as well. That could have been Gillingvass, just trying to pick up those lanes as they come across the line. Coogin Headland in 4. Very, very impressive. There is no doubting the position out in front, and that was Clifton.
Clifton, as we saw them in the quarterfinal, they look fantastic, and they just had a little smile on their face too, a little bit of a laugh. They look pretty pumped up, and they can definitely do that all again. And I wouldn't be surprised to go faster as well, but we saw Coogin Headland, Mordialloc, and just Clifton just stretching away there. They look so comfortable and composed, and they'd almost have to be a favourite going to this final. Yeah,
with a performance like that, they certainly do deserve that status. Mordialloc, we know that they've got pace as well. They were right there too. Coogin Headland were really strong throughout those opening legs. And then here came Maroochydore as well. I got a bit confused by the lanes. It does look as though they've shifted a further lane to the right as well, which threw me off a little bit there. So I apologise to Maroochydore, but they came back in for 3rd place. And that was a really strong top 3. It's tight for that last spot. No, it was Coogin Headland that came across the line. It was the rest of the places that did have the field come through. So they are our top 4 through to the A final. Clifton from South Africa, Mordy Alec. Maroochydore and Coogin Headland. Gillingvass from Great Britain finished in 5th. Langenberg from Germany was in 6th. And 7th was Currumbin with Nordestart finishing in 8th spot. Semi-final number 1 done. Just like that, Courtney. Now the nervous wait for those teams before their respective A and B finals. Semi-final number 2. They're starting to get ready for a start.
It is a nervous wait, isn't it? Because you have to wait and see whether you've got that disqualification. But here we go. We have the results right on screen.
That's right. So just recapping those results. In 1 was Clifton, 2 Mordy Alec, 3 Maroochydore and 4 Coogin Headland. They are the teams going through to the A final. The question now is who is going to be able to join them from semi-final number 2. More care now starting to be given, it looks like, into the little things when it comes to our teams starting to get that sand ready, a little bit of gardening as we call it. And in lane number 1 in this second semi is Noosa Heads in 1, Retford and District is in 2, Bamdang Northcliffe in 3, South Maroubra in 4, Pirates from South Africa in 5, 6 is Alexandra Headland, from Australia, 7 is Luckenwald from Germany, and in lane number 8 is Metropolitan Caloundra from the Sunshine Coast of Australia. And already they're starting to build those blocks, getting themselves nice and set. A little practice there, it looks like, for Noosa Heads as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a bad thing to have a little practice because they have been sitting around in that shade resting. So it's trying to get themselves all ready to go again. And that's the thing about the beach competitors at the moment. They've really, we spoke to Simon Harris in an interview, he's like, when you're not out there racing, you really got to relax, take a moment to try and recover. But when you're back on, you're back on. So these athletes, the emotions are up and down all the time, resting to the side and getting themselves back. But certainly, this is another one. They've just got to tick off the box. This is the last one on the list if they can get to that A final, and then we'll have from 5th to 8th, which will be in that B final.
Some deep breaths, some stoic faces from our 8 runners that are now getting ready for a start. The top 4 will go through to the World Championship final. The second 4 will have a run in the B final as well. And they are away. It looks like all of our runners did get away nice and clean. But South Maroubra at this point and Noosa Heads, we saw them in their quarterfinals lay down the pace early. They're doing the same here.
Yeah, they certainly are. And South Maroubra just out in front. Are they really going from strength to strength and coming down to that baton change? I'm sure all the competitors might get a little bit nervous, but just trying to get that nice and clean. As we can see, there's a lot of great cheering happening on in the background. Everyone wants their team to get through.
Safe baton changes as well for both South Maroubra and for Noosa. They have one more to get through, and they will find themselves in the World Championship final. Noosa slowing down into the line. They wanted to make sure they got it right, and they certainly did. The 2 teams out in front, South Maroubra and Noosa Heads, with a dominant run here. Noosa deciding to come through to the line. South Maroubra switching off. Northcliffe has recovered to finish in 3rd, and it did look as though it was Luckenwald rather, from Germany, who might have nabbed the 4th position and the spot in that World Championship final. Courtney, 2 different schools of thought just there. Noosa ran through to the line. South Maroubra switched off early.
Again, I think there's 2 different, ways to go about that mentally. It's about, here we are, we're ready to take it out. We want to win everything we go into. And really also, as Christy made a great point, they're the youth. They have plenty of energy. It looks like they haven't done it. It looks like they're so fresh. So, different athletes need to, use their energy up, as we had the other team just, relaxing in towards the end there. So 2 different ways to go about it. Both right, neither are wrong. It's just the way you want to do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And 2 teams, different approaches. Well, same outcome. Very, very impressive, and both into the World Championship final. You can see that's when South Maroubra pulled up a little bit, Noosa right through the line, and getting a good confidence boost out of that, no doubt as well, because the second half of that last leg, very, very impressive. So we will bring you the official results. But before we do that, Christy Munro standing by on the stand. Christy, that's our second men's semi-final done. How is it feeling down there on the beach? A world championship is just about to be won in the women's and the men's beach relays.
Yes, we've got through a huge program here this morning with getting through our quarters and our semis. As you've mentioned, we've just got our A and B finals to go. We can see the women's B final just getting preparation on the track, smoothing out any of those bumps that they can see. I think we're in for a really hot race there. Obviously, Noosa taking out that second semi of the men's, and we saw the Noosa women's team, I think, finishing second in one of their semis. So the Noosa club doing a lot of work on the beach with those changeovers. We wouldn't expect to see any drop battens now, I would imagine, now that we're through to the A and B finals. But as we have spoken about all day, that wind is still howling down here, and maybe with a little bit of a fatigue, we may see some errors, but we'd expect to see some pretty clean races.
Thank you, Christy. We have those results on screen at the moment. Noosa heads in 1, South Maroubra in 2, BMD Northcliffe in 3, and Luckenwalde from Germany in 4. As Christy mentioned, they're the teams that are going through to the A final, so that is where the Interclub title will be won. There is a little bit of a longer wait as well, but there are B finals for these men as well. It will be interesting to hear what kind of work we've been seeing in the backgrounds. I know that Christy's been focused on those races, but just to try and keep those legs nice and fresh as well, because already we are back on the line with the B final of the Youth Female Beach Relay.
Yeah, and have a look at that. As you said, they've got a big program, don't they? Back-to-back running. It's, they're going at full speed. So to do that back-to-back is very difficult, but we see on screen we've got our B final coming up very soon.
North Burleigh in 1, Norderstedt in 2, Alexandra Headland in 3, Club d'Entraînement in 4, Kurrawa in 5, BMD Northcliffe in 6, Clifton in 7, and across the page is Sunshine Beach in lane number 8. So this is the B final of the Interclub Women Beach Relay. We've just seen all these teams in action in both the quarter and the semis, and now they have another chance as well already. The A final is being lined up behind them too. Officials doing a great job of flying through this, because although it's a beautiful day here on the Gold Coast, it's incredibly windy as well, and that is making things difficult. Our focus has been on the beach today. The water events were postponed to tomorrow, so it will be a compressed program across both days 2 and 3 of the Interclub Championships. When we got here this morning, Courtney, it was windy, but there was no surf. Every now and then when we flick to that high camera and that drone, you can see that the surf has really started to build in a very short space of time. So officials vindicated in making that right call, because things are starting to get a little bit wild here on the Gold Coast.
As Ty Dowk would say, safety never takes a holiday. So the officials have done a really great job. You've got to look after all the competitors out there, and there's many different sort of skills levels. So the wind can be very, very dangerous, even sometimes if the swell doesn't look as big as what you would usually see it when an event would be postponed. The wind is very dangerous, and if you fall off that ski, I tell you what, it'd probably end up going to Broadbeach, Northcliffe and beyond, because it is very wild out there. As we can see, even the beach competitors have really had a tough trot out here for their last couple of runs so far, so I can't even imagine how it'd be in the water at the moment. But we look on screen, it's all about the beach events at the moment, which has been incredibly enjoyable out there. But Sam, who are you backing for this women's B final?
Oh, hard to pick. You know what? If I've learned one thing throughout these rounds today, is that I'm not going to back anyone, because it is not only it is tricky with these changes and also keeping your footing on this course, but there is pace and quality right across these teams. These are the 16 best beach relay youth teams in the world, and they're right here at Kurrawa Beach on the Gold Coast. This is the B final that is currently lining up. They are fighting for bragging rights for positions for 9 through to 16, and then we are going to be having the World Championship contested in just a few moments' time. You can see the sand flicking up in the background. It's tough for runners, it's tough for spectators as well, and the B final is waiting for a start.
Now, I'm sure there might be a few athletes tonight, they might find a bit of sand in their eyes trying to there's always different tricks, isn't it, to try and get that sand out. I do the one where you get your eyelid over the top and look everywhere and try and go from there. So there's a few different ways. I'm sure everyone's got that. Don't listen to my way, but it has been really, really challenging, and it just shows how fit these athletes are from going back to back to back. I know the run doesn't look that far, should I say, sorry, but the depth that we saw from Christy explaining how deep the sand is and just how challenging it is to do back to back to back. Incredible athletes there. The girls are all so fit. You can see there's a few nerves about shaking the legs off. So we'll definitely see some faster baton change from here on. We've got the B final for the women's, then we've got the A final, then we move back to the youth men for the B, and then their A final.
That is correct. This is the B final of the Interclub World Championships, and now they are just waiting for a start. A few more deep breaths, one more race of the day after what has been a jam-packed morning, not just in the beach relays, but also the 2K beach run for those athletes who are backing up there as well. Now they're in the starters' hands. Alexandra Headland just coming into the blocks now. And they are away in the B final of the Interclub Youth Women's Beach Relay. Alexandra Headland getting a good start, so too BMD Northcliffe and Clifton from South Africa. Very tight across the screen. It's Alex who will change in front.
Yeah, Alex really strong straight off the start there. It was nice to see. We haven't had any breaks so far in any of these relays. Northcliffe really starting to work very hard at the moment in second there.
It's a tight race. It's Alexandra Headland in front at the moment. Northcliffe in 2, Clifton in 3. And it did look as though it was Karawa that was starting to surge through that field as well. This is perhaps the tightest race that we have seen so far today. And it's all going to come down to this final change and then the final run leg. Northcliffe in 1. Karawa has climbed to 2. Alex in 3. Clifton is in 4 into the final leg.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough. I like the works of Karawa, the local beach there. Number 3 runner. She did very, very well. You see Alex fighting back now, but it potentially could it be Clifton coming through?
What a finish from Clifton. The South Africans surging through that pack to take out the B final ahead of Northcliffe and Alexandra Headland as well. It was very tight in terms of results for those minor placings. There's no denying that it was Clifton who did hit the front. That was a really promising run and a great way for them to end their campaign in this Interclub Youth Beach Relay as well.
Absolutely. Clifton, congratulations. Your Surf Life Saving Club, I tell you what, they've got a great... there's something, I guess, on the sand over there, I think, because they've got a remarkable beach crew that they've brought over here. But we just look at that start. It was Alexandra Headlands who were leading most of the way there, just when Northcliffe and Clifton coming through at the end.
That's right, Clifton. It's a picturesque beach. It's one of the nicest beaches in Cape Town to go to as well. Might have to show you some pictures, Corny, but no wonder they're spending so much time on the sand when it looks like that too. A beautiful part of the world. And look at the way their runner surged through the field. She got the baton in 4th and then hit the burners going all the way to the front.
Oh, she looked incredible out there. That was a phenomenal sprint as well. Going into the wind, she definitely didn't look like she was going into the wind there. She absolutely flew. But we might have a look and see if we can get those results up.
Yeah, that's right. So they are still waiting to be tagged through. That's starting to happen now. It was Clifton in 1. We are doing the minor, the rest of the top 3 at the moment. Northcliffe in 2 there in the B final. Officials now making their way across to Alexandra Headland in 3 as well. Christy Munro is standing by on the beach. You got to see that relay run in action. We'll be having a chat with her in just a moment because the A final is now standing by on the line as well. The World Championship, the Interclub World Championship title in this youth female beach relay. We've just seen the B final. Our winners, Clifton, are standing by with Christy.
Thank you, Sam. Yes, I'm down on the beach here with our winners of that B final. Officially 9th in the world. That must feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does feel really good. I mean, obviously it was extremely hard. And we did the best we could. And for all the training that we put into it, it feels really good to get somewhere.
We've obviously been talking about this wind all day. You were our final runner there. Is it as tough as it looked bringing it home into that headwind?
Yes, definitely. It's very strong out there, but I just need to keep pushing.
And how did the body recover from the heats to the semis to the finals?
I mean, it's obviously exhausting having such a small break in between each race, but I mean, you get stronger every time, so it feels better the next time you do it.
And how are you enjoying your time here in Australia? Is this your first visit?
Yes, it's my first visit. I've been loving the weather. It's basically like South Africa, but it's a lot warmer and it's very nice here.
Well, we love having you here. Congratulations and enjoy the rest of the competition.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christy, and congratulations to Clifton. They were outstanding, and we heard from our final runner there saying it was hard work. Well, the way she ran, she made it look easy. That was unbelievable, going from 4th to 1st in the B final in that final leg. Official results, Northcliffe in 2, Alexandra Headland in 3, Karawa 4, Nordestan from Germany in 5th, Sunshine in 6th, Club d'Entraînement from Canada in 7th, and in 8th place. We did have another disqualification there. It was North Burleigh who did get ruled out of that B final. Now, attention turns to the A final. A world championship is just about to be won. Courtney, there's a few nervous looks on the faces as we run through the start list. In 1 is Wanda, 2 is Currumbin, 3 North Cronulla, 4 is Swansea Belmont, 5 is the Indian Lifesaving Federation, 6 is Maroochydore, Noosa Heads and Burleigh. And just like that, they are away and racing for a world championship here in Interclub Youth Beach Relay Finals. Swansea Belmont is going toe-to-toe with North Cronulla in this early stage. Wanda is in 3.
I'm not surprised to see those teams out in front. We saw them in the quarterfinal and in the semi-finals as well. We might have had India just do the baton slip or a little trip there, unfortunately.
That's right. Out in front, they are going stride for stride. Swansea Belmont and North Cronulla. That is the tightest margin we have seen. North Cronulla getting the better of the change, but now Swansea Belmont is surging back to the front. This is incredibly tight coming into the final leg.
And side by side as well, they'd be eyeballing each other. We just got that change. Oh, perfect. My eyes couldn't even keep up, but we see Swansea Belmont really striding out well now.
Clean changes, but Swansea Belmont is now extending its lead. They will win the World Interclub Championship here in the Youth Beach Relay. It is North Cronulla in 2. It did look like Noosa Heads got there for 3, but we will wait for those official results. Swansea Belmont, it was 4 clean changes. It was 4 sharp runs. They executed to perfection, and now they have a World Championship to show for it.
Oh, fantastic. I love the sportsmanship there as well with North Cronulla. I'm sure the girls have raced many times at New South Wales state titles, so I love that. Just having the little debrief, that's always the best part. I love the ribbons and the hair as well. But as we heard Clifton competitors say before, it gets stronger and stronger as you keep running. And certainly the girls from both North Cronulla and Swansea Belmont did just that.
In a race with so many variables over so many legs, the fact that Swansea Belmont and North Cronulla went stride for stride and were side by side for so long was nothing short of extraordinary. That's one of the best beach relay battles that I've seen in the sport. It did look as though that Swansea Belmont got a little bit of a jump here, and then it was that final change in that first 25 metres from its last runner that extended that lead. And now they are the world champions to show for it. How good is that?
Oh, what a feeling. They will certainly be having a nice celebration tonight. But I'm really excited to actually see the girls and the individual as well. They all incredibly fast, and a world championships. This will be a moment they'll remember forever, and they looked very excited about it, but just so cool, calm and collected as well the whole time. I'm excited. In a moment we'll get Christy to get those interviews, but they looked very, very excited and well deserved right from the start, right from that gun in that first quarterfinal. They were the favourites.
You think about all of the work that goes into something like that as well, all the hours spent on the beach there at Blacksmiths in Newcastle, which for our international viewers is a little bit north of Sydney, about an hour and a half north of Sydney, and it all came together for them on the biggest stage. We are getting those results, and I will just tell you the medalists while we do stand by for Swansea Belmont to have a chat with Christy. They are officially the world champions ahead of silver medalist North Cronulla and bronze medalist Noosa Heads. We'll run through that whole top 8 in just a moment, but for now we relive, Courtney, what was an incredible run. That so strong, and they were so strong throughout the rounds as well. We can see the men starting to get into position, but it's the hugs for Swansea Belmont that we're focused on at the moment because they're now standing by with Christy.
Thank you. I'm here with the world champions of the Youth Beach Relay, Swansea Belmont. The smiles are huge. You looked strong all day, but you had to get it done in that final.
Yes, I agree, 100%. We knew what we wanted to do. We had to get through heats, semis and finals, but it was still the same process, and we did it. So, yeah.
We knew it was going to be a tight race with North Cronulla. They also looked strong through the rounds. How did you hold your nerve in that final?
We just trusted our training and our teammates, and I think that really helped.
And you absolutely powered home in that final leg just to pull your team as a clear winner. How is the feeling? World champion.
Yeah, I'm so happy. The girls did the hard work. I just had to finish it. Yeah.
A starter.
And a gold medal with friends always feels better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels so much better with all my friends.
Well, congratulations. We'll get you go and enjoy and celebrate with your coaches. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Oh, they can't wipe the smiles off their faces. Thank you very much, Christy. Swansea Belmont, the Interclub Female Beach Relay World Champions. They almost lost for words there, Courtney, weren't they?
They were so cute. I think They couldn't wipe the smiles off their face. I'm sure by the end of the day, their cheeks are really going to start hurting because they really, really deserve that. And yeah, beautiful girls. I love seeing how happy they were. And we just see the results on there. Obviously, Swansea Belmont getting the gold, North Cronulla and Noosa Heads taking the bronze. But we look to the screen. This is now the B final for the World Youth Men's Beach Relay.
Yeah, that's right. From the top of screen going down, it is Alexandra Headland, Norderstedt, Currumbin, Metropolitan Caloundra, Langenberg, Pirates, Gillingvars and Retford and District. And there are some clean changes. I did think that perhaps it was our leaders as I was reading that start list might have dropped the baton and not go back across the line. So look, they could pay the price for that. This is the B final of the men's beach relay and it's very tight coming into this penultimate change as well. And no, another drop from Metropolitan Caloundra. It goes to show just even as skilled as all of our runners here today and all the work they put in, you've really got to be switched onto it in these big moments. Currumbin's certainly doing that.
Definitely. I think sometimes as we go into the last leg, sometimes when you're side by side and you're all kind of mushed in together there going to the change, it can be quite distracting. But as we move into this last leg, it's still very, very close.
Really tight finish at the moment. We will wait to pick up those caps. It did look like Pirates from South Africa taking out that B final. There were plenty of moving parts in that last leg as well. Hard to keep a track of which teams were surging from which lanes, but that was a really exciting run from Pirates. They're going to take out that B final and also go home with 9th place, bragging rights in the World Championships as well, Court.
Absolutely, getting top 10 in the world. I tell you what, that is no easy feat, and that was a really, really tough run there. Right from the start here, as we look at the replay, they were neck and neck, and I think that's maybe potentially why there's a few baton drops because there was so many bodies happening all at the same time there, but right from the really start, look at that.
Yeah, that's right. There are plenty of surging teams coming through as well. Currumbin making a good go of it back up there. Metropolitan Caloundra right there, but it was that baton change that ruled them out of contention to take out this B final. Tricky conditions in this win today. That's why it's so important of holding that baton up. And Pirates there just making sure they stayed out in front. It was a fast finish right across the board as well. Alexandra Headland there, but yeah, it was Pirates in 1, Alexandra Headland in 2, Currumbin in 3. That was our top 3 of the B final of the Interclub Youth Men's Beach Relay as well. We just saw the Women's World Championship decided. The men's is just a moment, but it was all about that B final. The boys from Pirates are celebrating down on the sand. They're standing by with Christy.
Yes, I'm down here with the team from Pirates, South Africa. Huge smiles taking out the win in the B final.
Honestly, I'm so proud of us. We come here, not as much training as the other guys. We are the underdogs. And look how we performed. I'm so proud of us. As a team, the hard work, the dedication, honestly, such an achievement. So grateful.
We've spoken about some of the mistakes happening under pressure. Perhaps being the underdogs has helped you to hold your nerve.
Yeah, we just had a lot of training from Bruce, South African coach here, and Jill. We just had a lot of help for them. Coming from Dubai, we didn't really expect this, and it's been amazing.
I have actually visited your club in South Africa. I know it's a club with a lot of pride. They'll be really cheering you on from home. Did you want to give anyone a shout out?
Thank you, guys. Loving the support. Definitely helped. Yeah, thank you.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy and enjoy the rest of the competition.
Thank you so much, guys.
Hi, Mummy.
A hello to the family and friends back home watching it for good reason. Pirates taking out that B final. And, you know, it is a B final in that the medals aren't on the line, but you can see how much it means to these athletes. Every place, every race, and that is what the World Championships are all about.
It absolutely is. I love the way they spoke there. They were very proud of themselves. They said, we weren't able to get the work in, so we were the underdogs. I love that. And just the way they said they were so proud. But we congratulations to Pirates as we move on now, Sam. We've got the A final for the Youth Men's Beach Relay.
This is it. The World Championship is up for grabs in lane 1. Morty Alec. 2 is BMD Northcliffe. 3 is Clifton. 4 Maroochydore. 5 is Noosa Head. 6 is Coogin Headland. 7 is Lucanwald, and in lane number 8 it is South Maroubra. We saw plenty of pace for them. Keep an eye out from South Maroubra. They will be at the top of your screen as well as the World Championship goes on the line. In fact, as we take a look now, it's actually the bottom of screen. That is Morty Alec, South Maroubra at the top. And they are away. There wasn't long in the starters' blocks, and they have got them running. Clifton is out in front, but it is Morty Alec now that stretches that little bit further ahead. Morty Alec in 1, Clifton in 2, and South Maroubra in 3. Clean baton changes right across the board.
They took off like a lightning bolt then. It was, oh, wow, they really, really want this. You can see that. They are going for a World Championships is on the line right now.
Clifton making the best of that change. It was very close to the line. South Maroubra is in 2. Morty Alec is in 3. And it is Noosa Heads coming through the field at the moment for that bronze medal. It's all coming down to this final leg. Strong changes right across the board. Here comes South Maroubra. It is South Maroubra and Clifton that are battling head to head. It's going to be close, but Clifton will win the Interclub World Championship in the men's beach relay.
Oh my goodness, I don't think anyone at the moment, they're not too sure what they've come. They haven't had the smiles on their face yet. I think they're just praying and hoping that they got through there, but that was one of the closest beach relay finishes I've ever seen.
We just saw a quick thumbs up from the officials. We will wait and see whether that means they were all clean changes, as we said during the call. Clifton, you know, we've seen the safety approach throughout the rounds. Clifton timed those to perfection. It was Morty Alec that got the best of it from the opening leg on the bottom of screen there. Clifton in 2, South Maroubra was in 3. But this is where things started to get shaken up a little bit. South Maroubra making a move and nailed that change. That was where they hit the front once again. And from that point, Courtney, they didn't look back.
We knew that the world champion winner for this event was there. They had to absolutely make everything perfection, especially those changeovers. As we just see the replay, from our eyes, it does look like Clifton, but we will have to get those official results, and we'll see that in a moment.
And it was Morty Alec that did come through for the bronze medal. Those results now official. The winners, Clifton from South Africa, the world champions of the youth men's beach relay. In 2 was South Maroubra from Sydney, Australia. And 3 is Morty Alec. They are your medalists. In 4th was Noosa Heads. 5 Maroochydore, 6 Coogin Headland, 7 BMD Northcliffe. And in 8th is Lukenvale. But our champions, Clifton, there with Christy on the sand.
Thanks, Sam. I'm down here with the world champions. You don't get to say that very often. This event only comes around every 2 years. How amazing is it to go home as the world champs?
You know, we came from South Africa. It was probably like a day and a half trip just to get to Australia. We've all put in the hard work, and this just shows. So I'm really happy with this result.
Looked like the difference might have come down to those really fast changes. Have you put in a lot of work? It certainly looked like it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we've definitely worked on this a lot. We knew coming here we had quite a quick team, so we wanted to just make sure those were waxed, and we knew we could do it. So, yeah.
And have you been running together as a team for a long time?
Yes, kind of. We've done lots of SA Champs, the South African Championships in South Africa together. Had lots of relays there already together as a team, and came prepared enough for that. Yeah.
Well, it's a really special moment for you as a team and for a club. Is there anyone you want to say thanks to?
Just like to say thank you to the coaches and everyone who's put in this amazing support. Thank you guys, really, really appreciate it. And thanks to all parents also. Yeah.
Congratulations, world champions. Go and enjoy.
Thank you, Christy. They certainly will enjoy that. Clifton, the South Africans, are the new men's youth beach relay champions, and didn't they do that in style? Like Christy mentioned, Courtney, their changes were so sharp, and that saw them finish on top of the world ahead of South Maroubra in 2. Morty Alec, our bronze medalist here today. 4th place, Noosa Heads. 5th was Maroochydore. 6th, Coogin Headland. 7, BMD Northcliffe. And in 8th place, rounding out that A final, was Lukenwald from Germany. But Courtney, how impressive was Clifton?
Clifton was so good. Right from early this morning, they looked fantastic. And it looks like they really had that really good team bonding as well. I said we all work really, really hard. And wow, they look excited. I absolutely love that. So we'll look forward. This is our highlights. We started off obviously with the 2-kilometre beach event, which was very, very tough with that wind.
Yeah, that's right. The wind, of course, causing havoc. No water events today, but it still made for really tough running on the beach. Sari McKee on screen from North Cronulla. She dictated that race on her own terms, and although she was pushed all the way, she was our new world champion.
Yeah, congratulations, Sari. She did that so well, didn't she? She really took it right from that last turn there. It looked fantastic. You can see at the end there she put absolutely everything in it, but she was very excited. A beautiful, very humble interview with Christy at the end.
And this was my race of the day, the men's 2K beach run. The way that the pace was pushed from the start, and that was the move. Wanda absolutely exploding into the race, and Kyle wouldn't be caught from there.
Kyle did a fantastic run. I have to agree. That was been my favourite race of the day. I love how he backed himself, had the confidence in himself, and he really deserved it in the end. He ran that so well. That was absolute perfection.
We've never seen anything like that in the 2K beach run. That was absolutely extraordinary. And then we got underway with all of our beach relays here. This is where the racing has been for the past couple of hours. There's been plenty of stories like that to share through it. Baton drops, there's been teams surging late, there's been back and forth, but most importantly, it's all been done with a smile on the faces from teams right across the world, rather, as well, that have come here to Australia to contest the world titles.
Yeah, they're having a good time, aren't they? We just see there was a couple
of big spills.
Yes.
There were a few, weren't there?
There was a couple, especially in that lane. Except it ended up being quite a lucky lane at the end, as we saw a couple of winners from that lane there. So we've had B finals, we've had A finals, we've had a lot of smiles. And everyone's having a really, really good time. That's what we love to see.
Look, through these earlier rounds, it was all about being safe and it was all about executing your race plan. And this was the semi-final stage now when we saw Northcliffe out in front. But, you know, it was easier said than done. I know that these teams spend so much time training. They spend so much time preparing to do exactly that, execute on race day. We did see a few surprises right there, Northcliffe. That was a baton drop on that third change, and that saw them not progress through to that A final. This was semi-final number 1. We might get a glimpse of semi-final number 2 of the Youth Female Beach Relay coming up in just a moment as well. But it was sharp racing too, Court. There wasn't much time between these races, and that's something that the competitors were reflecting on at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, they all mentioned that they had to back up, and I love the way that a couple of the athletes said we got stronger and stronger the more we ran. So that's just a good sign of that solid fitness that these athletes have. And as we saw Clifton, they really had a dominating day today. They were fantastic, and they were certainly the favourites as we saw them throughout the quarterfinals and the semi-finals.
Well, it just goes to show as well how important it is to build that training load too. And having those repeat efforts to be able to handle it on race day. It's something that you get spoken about a lot in the water, but I feel like on the sand, especially in these beach relays, it's amplified when you're running a 2K beach run for some athletes. Then you're coming into the beach relays. That's a lot of load through the legs.
Yes, this puts a lot of pressure on your fitness, but these athletes are all used to that. They put in the effort, and also they've got to be explosive as well. So being explosive back to back to back, it's really important. So heart rate's been up a fair bit, but Sam, wow, what a day it has been.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is the B final on screen at the moment as we see Clifton coming through. These are some of the races that we have seen so far today. 4 World Championships have been won. This was the A final of the Youth Beach Relay. Swansea Belmont and North Cronulla going head-to-head in a battle for the ages. You don't often see teams going side by side like that. And Swansea Belmont coming out on top in the new World Champions. It was Clifton from South Africa, the World Championships in the men's. So that is all the action here today. Day 1 of the Interclub competition at the World Championships. The water events will be back tomorrow for day 2, and it is going to be another huge day here at Kurrawa on the Gold Coast. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.